Good morning, Raptor freaks. Lexi out here Saturday morning, and the Raptors won first in-season tournament game of Group A this season. And honestly, I think they can win Group A and go to Vegas and be in the in-season tournament finals. Seriously, because this game last night was the hardest in-season tournament game for them. Next week on Friday, we'll go play Atlanta in Atlanta, and we've already gone to Atlanta and beaten Atlanta in Atlanta. But then we'll play Washington Wizards, an in-season tournament at our arena. Then we'll play Indiana, who hasn't won a game yet in our arena. We win these 4 games, including the one last night. We will go to Vegas and we will get to compete in the in-season tournament. So in some ways, this is really interesting because we just lost 4 games. Everybody's going crazy. Now we've got a shine of a light of positivity around our team all of a sudden from getting the win last night. And I don't want to hear any negative ninnies and stuff like that. In some ways, some of the reactions people had on social media last night to the Raptors winning were the wrong ones. They were negative. They're like, oh, yeah, the Cleveland team wasn't that good. And also, yeah, that's true. But we got the assignment done. And once again, Raptors fans and other people, you can't control who's going to show up on the other side. But you can try and control whether you get the W. And ultimately, the only thing that matters is getting that W. Honestly, that's the only thing that matters in the NBA to me. I don't give a shit about individual stats. I don't care who is there or not there. I just want to make sure these guys get it done at the end where we have higher points than the other team and we win. And well, they got that done. That was a high pressure situation in some degrees. There was a high probability, a possibility of embarrassing yourselves and losing to only an Evan Mobley led Cleveland Cavaliers team. But they didn't do that. There was a crisis. There was a point where everything fell apart. And then we were going, oh, fuck, man. This is horrible. And even on the Discord and other places and chats, people were already chicken littling in the middle of the game. And I'm like, nah, let's not do this. Stay positive. Stay with it. Believe in success. Think about success. Let's not get in our heads and, oh, no, this and this and this. Fuck that. Because I'll tell you what the Raptors did. They did something amazing last night in the game for us to get that win. And I appreciate them so much. A lot of the answers were given for the questions we've had in the last few days. A lot of the answers were given. And if you didn't see them or you didn't hear them, well, I did. And I'll tell you what they are. Because seriously, we had things we were demanding of Coach Darko and the players yesterday on our preview stream. And well, they gave them to us. They answered a lot of my questions yesterday. And I feel much better about where we stand right now. We just had to go through a Texas trio of terror. And we had to lose a winnable home game in our home opener against the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, that Bucks game is one we are going to wish we had back later in the season. But those other games, in some ways, they were destined to be L's. Maybe we could have won the Mavericks game too. But I'm so happy we're back on the right side of winning. And we're definitely going to react to it today. You guys, the phone line is open. If you know the number, you can call in and talk about the game last night. The number is open. I will ask you, please let me get into the stream a little bit. But if you want to call, you can call, especially Seymour. If Seymour wants to call, he can definitely call. Trevor J is first in the chat this morning. Words of wisdom from the Commissioner Fund, Trevor Jones. The mind builds before the hands ever act. Everything you do is born from what you think. The mind you train becomes the life you live. You can't see a thought yet. It directs everything you do. You can't touch belief, yet it touches every part of your life. The unseen shapes the scene. It's true. Most things that happen have to be derived in a little idea. Like in a cartoon, it would be a little light bulb above your head. Those things happen. And it's true. Like, your perception can limit you or give you freedom depending on how you want to look at the world. If you have a limited perception of the world where you think I can only do this, well, you're fucked. You can only do that. But if you have an abundance mindset, you have a mindset that says, You know what? Everything in this world that I want or need is out there, and I will get it. You'll figure it out. So, yeah, don't limit yourself with your own mind. And it's true, if you want to start momentum towards goals and things you want to accomplish, start pre visualizing, start thinking about them in your head, start getting them organized that way, and then they can maybe become a reality. So, yeah, thank you for the words of wisdom, Trevor J. I appreciate it. He's saying this big win, Jamison Battle, true sniper. Every time his name was called, he makes threes, and RJ stays steady, and Ingram always ready. I don't know if he was trying to rhyme on that, but he did. All right, stars of the game. Obviously, Jamison Battle was the hero last night. Jamison Battle got the interview at the end of the game. Jamison Battle was a perfect 7 of 7 from the field. In fact, Jamison Battle tied a Raptors record last night of most three-pointers made in a game without a miss, tied with Kyle Lowry for 6 out of 6 in the past. That's fantastic. Only 15 minutes for Jamison. He scored 20 points and was a plus 28. Yeah, he had a factor in winning last night. I'll say that. Number one star for sure. In some ways, it couldn't have happened to a nicer guy in some ways. We get caught up in this middle of the roster competition with the Raptors. And in some ways, Battle and Mobo get forgotten because we focus so much on Abaji, Grady, and Walter, and Murray Bowles. And, seeing Battle come in and do this when he gets his number called, this is badass. And give major credit to Darko. One of the things I said yesterday is like, Darko, give me some ammunition to feed the propaganda gun saying that you are a good coach and you're doing good things for us, because he did. That choice to go away from Grady in the second half and go with Jamison was brilliant. And that is a move by Darko. Not only that, Darko in the second half of the game showed a very, very different way of balancing his rotation. In some ways, he started putting in guys that were helping towards winning and doing the right kind of stuff than just playing the rotation because these guys got to get this amount of minutes by this time of the game and that. No, very, very smart coaching by the coach in the second half. And one of the things he did that was very smart was when they started so flat after halftime and messed up their 5-point lead, and it turned out into a 5-point lead for the Cavs, he pulled a couple of his main starters 2 minutes into the third, which is way earlier than he would sub in the third quarter. So he was reactionary to the issues that were starting to unravel on the court immediately at the beginning of the third quarter. And he subbed out Colin Murray Bowles and Scotty or somebody right away because he saw that something was going in the wrong direction. And that substitution was brilliant. That was flexible. That was smart. And that stopped things for a while. Now, it wasn't totally pretty in the third quarter. And it looked ugly as hell. And you know what? RJ was getting pissed, apparently. Yeah. That's what he said in his interview afterwards. Is like, look, these guys have been very mad about their defense, their rebounding, and the issues they've had the last few games. And they were sick of it. And they were rededicating themselves to try and fix these issues like points in the paint and offensive rebounds for the other team. And we did see a much better effort as a team overall in shoring up some of that stuff last night against the Cavs. And I appreciate that. But apparently, when everything went south in the third quarter, when we lost the double-digit lead that we had, and we squandered some things, and it was getting dark for a second, and the Cleveland team was feeling good, and the crowd was waking up, the Raptors in a huddle then, and this may have been the huddle right around where Stargate was like, why did Darko call a huddle? I was like, because Scotty was about to come in, and he didn't want to waste any more time, and he wanted to stop timeout so he could sub Scotty in immediately. Because sometimes the game will go on, and you don't sub in until the whistle. Well, he wanted Scott in right at that second. And that's why he called that whistle. But there was a timeout at some point in the third quarter last night where the Raptors, as players, got angry in the huddle. And what happened was they worked shit out with each other. They said, and this is what Darko said in the interview after the game, he said, the players were amazing. They just all of a sudden came together and started working it out with each other and saying, this is what we got to do. This is what we got to do. And then they did it. They went out there and did it. And RJ described it as this. It's like, yeah, we can't do this anymore, guys. And they had a very serious talk in the huddle in the third quarter last night that was changing for the energy and the attitude of the game. Now, Jamison was a great part of helping that all become successful. And he's fantastic. And honestly, that's the kind of stuff that needs to get you more minutes in rotation. In fact, the power of Jamison Battle with the spacing was so good for our team, the effect. And if Grady was a more effective shooter and making his shots, he's not shooting well so far this year, other than the first game of the season. You know, he would be providing this kind of spacing for us. But Jamison, wow. And those shots were tough. Those corner shots were tough. And you know what? He could have missed any of them, but he was perfect. He made them, and he even got a signature dunk right at the end for one two-point field goal to be 7 for 7. Yeah, amazing stuff, Jamison. Not only that, he had a badass block too. That block was awesome when he blocked Luke Travers, and Jack Armstrong did get that garbage out of here in an Australian accent. That is top notch, 10 out of 10 right there. Get that garbage out of here, crikey. It's so goofy. And once again, Luke Travers is Australian Joe Dirt. And he's kind of cool, man. Honestly, his look is not necessarily the coolest, but in some ways it's so uncool, it's cool. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, but Jamison, thank you. Thank you for being a hero, Bonnie Tyler. 20 points, 1 rebound, 1 block, which was amazing. And yeah, he shot perfect from the field, 100%, a plus 28. You don't tell me this man wasn't a factor on winning when he only played 15 minutes and we outscored them by 28 points while he was out there. So good. In fact, that lineup was the best lineup we had out there for a while. It was the bench with Brandon Ingram that was the ones that really turned the game around at that point. And Jamison's spacing and Brandon's very steady scoring were a big part of why we got back. And the leadership of Shed and the defense of Oshai. Yeah, this was the lineup I'm talking about. It was like it was Oshai, it was Shed, it was Battle, it was Mamu, and it was Ingram. Those 5 guys were the ones who really got us back in the game in the second half. And I appreciate them. My second star of the game last night is RJ Barrett. RJ Barrett got the post-game interview, and he divulged a lot about the things with the team. And, you know, Darko said this similar stuff. You know, Darko answered a lot of our questions. He said, this team is together. This team plays for each other. He even said straight up, the fans don't know just how much this team is together and how much this team is fighting and trying to win as badly as they can. You know what I'm saying? And RJ's sentiments in the interview echoed exactly what Darko was portraying, that, you know, they're a team that has different personalities. They're different kind of dudes. Brandon's a different person than Scotty. Scotty's a different person than Quick. Quick's a different person than Garrett. Garrett's a different person than Jacoby. They all have very different kind of feels to them as people. Oshai, very different person than each other. But in some ways, they got to, you know, do the assignment. And they, you know what? I'm not worried about them anymore. I think that we just had a really bad gauntlet of games in the first 5 games of the season. And now when I look at the schedule coming up, I'm like, 1 game at a time, we can win all these games. And that's the way we should feel, like there's hope. When the team is playing so bad, it doesn't seem like they can compete with anybody. That's dismal. And that sucks. And it makes you feel like, oh, this is going to be a long season. But if the Raptors show improvement, show that they are back on track, show that they can compete with any team, well, any team we go and play, we can play. And Memphis tomorrow is very winnable because Memphis is in disarray and we're at home and we got good vibes from winning an in-season tournament game. That matters, y'all. Seriously. Don't poo-poo this shit. We won on the special court on one of the 4 important games of the season with this in-season tournament. And we're in the driver's seat of Group A now. Seriously, the ESPN is so stupid. They wrote an article after the games last night saying, and they totally didn't even mention our name in it. They still think that Cleveland's going to win Group A. They're already behind because we beat them. And when we sweep our group and Cleveland is like either the wild card or not even involved in Vegas, they'll know then. because honestly, we have a really easy path. Not totally easy. I should say it's easy, but we have a very doable path for in-season tournament play in Vegas at this point. And then something, a couple days ago, I wouldn't be saying is like, wow, the Raptors could really win Group A of the in-season tournament. And we can, because the toughest game in our group was last night. And it was a Cleveland game in Cleveland, and we took care of business. That game is over. RJ Barrett, 30 minutes. Was that 36 minutes? My eyesight. 36 with 20 points. He was a +2. He had 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, and he shot 53%, 3 of 5 from 3, and he made his only free throw. Just a steady game from RJ. RJ's a bucket. RJ is a reason why I love him on the Raptors is because it doesn't matter if he gets the foul call. He's so strong. He can finish through the contact and make the shot. And Stargate said this again in Discord server last night, that the player in this league that's the most like LeBron James is RJ Barrett. No, seriously, think about what I'm saying. There's a certain level of offensive talent and rolling to the basket and making layups with people hanging all over you that LeBron James and RJ Barrett share together. There's not a lot of players in this league that can take 2 people on each shoulder to the rim and finish still. And it doesn't even matter if they get the foul or not. So, yeah, I appreciate RJ for being a steadfast competitor, no matter what is going on with the Raptors, whether the score is. And you know what? He's doing so well hitting his 3 this year. Like when his shot is open, he's money and he's not missing. So he's very much been our most steady, consistent Raptors so far this season. And I appreciate him for that. You go on, Star J. Barrett. You go on. My 3rd star of the game last night is a man that carried late. And we did see him carry late finally. In some ways, the stats didn't show Brandon was doing stuff in clutch. Well, we made sure he did stuff in the late game situation to put us over the top. Not only Jamison Battle, but Brandon Ingram with some key baskets late in the 4th to just keep us on top of the Cavs. And, it was a somewhat close game still. And we're in danger of losing. It's only a 4-point lead with a couple minutes to go. 4 points is good, but 10 points is better. Let's just put it that way. Brandon in 35 minutes, 20 points, just like RJ. He got 7 rebounds. In fact, Brandon was doing a really good job getting to the rebounds. I saw that effort from you, Ingram, and I appreciate it. The rebounds were really good. Actually, he had 8 rebounds. Sorry. He had 5 assists, which is fantastic too. So we had a little bit of stat stuff in Brandon doing a lot of different stuff. 2 steals, only 2 turnovers. He shot 47%, 7 of 15. And he was a +7. Brandon is a great, powerful weapon. In some ways, we're just scratching the surface of what we can start doing with him. He's still gelling. He's still figuring things out. In some ways, I want to say this. Part of the reason why the Raptors haven't looked so good this season so far is Brandon and Colin, because these guys are new and they are causing problems for us in our defense where we're not doing things exactly right. In some ways, they both have to catch up to speed with the Raptor way and get more involved. But Brandon's on track. I mean, there's a lot that he's doing different than he would in New Orleans before. There's a lot more of an all-around game. And in some ways, he's way more selective about when he's getting his shots. But I do like that the Raptors very much are feeding him in isolation. And I very much do like all the different moves he's doing with the turnaround fadeaways. And even when he gets closer to the basket, he's doing a lot of really good footwork and getting an easy layup. One of the things I did see, though, is in some ways Brandon struggles to get loose balls because in some ways it's weird. His hands and his arms are not the biggest. He doesn't have big claw hands like Scotty or Colin. And in some ways, grabbing those loose balls is tougher for Brandon because his strengths are in his shot. He's a shooter. And in some ways, he's a scorer. And in some ways, scrappy, I'm going to suck up the ball with my hands and grab stuff. That's not necessarily who he is. So when there's loose ball battles, Brandon's not always winning them. But I saw him fighting for loose balls last night. And I saw him getting in there. And I saw him being disruptive. And that's all I can ask of you, man. In some ways, you're putting in effort in areas of your game that you probably haven't put as much effort in the past. And I appreciate you for it. And yes, thank you, Darko, for listening. And like, if we're going to have Ingram on our team, you better use him in the last 5 minutes of game because he's a bucket. And in a high pressure situation, when we need a bucket, especially a guy who could do a turnaround and get a 3-point play and get us 3 points all of a sudden, or hit a three from the outside because he's silky smooth, sweet with that sweet net music. Yeah, play him. In some ways, that shows a good confidence that the coach is coaching right because he's got the right players in at the end of the game. And I appreciate him for that. Yeah, 4th star of the game is young Scott. Scotty, man, I want to say something, man. You must have been listening too, because I did see you play more of a team defender, Ben Wallace kind of role last night. You got a double-double, and with rebounds, you got 10 rebounds. I liked your tenacity. In some ways, Scott, you know what? You're not your boy Scotty anymore. You're a man, Scotty. Yeah. Last night, you were your man, Scotty. Not your boy, Scotty. Your man, Scotty, because you were down there working in toughness around the basket like a man. Yeah. Yeah, Scott. You went down there and you bullied them little babies because you were the big boy that went down there and you did man stuff last night. And I see you for it, Scott. I see the physicality that you were using, that you were going in there and you'd have 2 defenders on you and you were relentless and you were giving up. And that's what I want from you. Don't shy away from contact. Be the big bad man on the court and go and fuck people up down low. In some ways, we're seeing more and more portholes to a future Scotty where you can dominate this league, my guy. Like, seriously, this stuff you're doing down low, some of these turnaround shots, the layups, the way you're coming at the basket more aggressively and downhill is very, very good. And there was another layer of physicality and toughness that you were absorbing and you were being successful through that I love. In some ways, you got to look at your friend RJ and say, RJ's a strong guy, just like LeBron. He can finish through contact, and he's not worried about Justin Van Dyne calling a whistle to give me a foul shot. No, he's just going to make the basket. And if he doesn't get the whistle, he don't give a shit because RJ lives like that. Well, Scotty, you could do the same damn thing. You're just as strong as RJ. And in some ways, don't rely on the refs to bail you out and go, where's my call, ref? No, fucking just put it in no matter what, even if those guys are coming at you. And I seen second and third effort from you last night, Scott. You get it after it, and you were taking rebounding seriously last night. I love that, man. I love that so much. 14 points for Scott. Not the biggest offensive output, but the rebounding and the stuff he was doing on defense, big time. Big time. He had to play straight up Evan Mobley most of the game. And that's a matchup that is an important matchup for Barnes. Mobley versus Barnes. That's going to be one for his whole career because they came in the same draft class and they've been tied together in a lot of conversations. And well, Scotty, we've seen Evan Mobley play very well last night. In fact, he was very dangerous through the game. And even at the end of the game, he was making baskets when I was like, stop him. But you did a good job for the most part on your defensive assignment with him to a degree. Yeah, 14 points with 10 rebounds, a double-double for Scott, 5 assists also, a steal and a block. He shot 43%. He was 1 of 4 at the free throw line, though, a -7 with 14 points in 35 minutes. I just love how Scotty put on the big boy pants and was the man on the court last night. And then, of course, some of the excellent passing up the court, the synergy between him and Barrett, top notch. Top notch. These guys have really good, like there's that one pass where he threw it to RJ and it looked like it was too far past the basket and it was a full court pass. And RJ caught it like a really skilled receiver and he slinked and got underneath the basket and made the layup still. And that's just perfect pinpoint football pass like Kyle Lowry would do back in the day on our team. Scotty Barnes doing it. And quarterback Lamar Jackson, a.k.a. Scotty Barnes, tossing the ball up to his Ravens receiver upfield. And there's Barrett to catch the ball as the wideout. And boom, there's an easy basket right underneath the basket. I love that shit so much. I love that shit. They were doing a good job getting the ball up the court fast last night. And that was really good. My 5th star of the game is Jamal Shed. Jamal Shed, steady, Sheddy. You are a point guard, my guy. And you get the assignment, man. 21 minutes for Shed, 9 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists, 7 rebounds, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 turnover. He shot 3 for 4. He got his only 3. He made both his free throws. He was a plus 10. Shed, thank you. The tenacity, the way you get after things, the way you're setting things up. You're a competitor. You've got that Fred VanVleet, Kyle Lowry vibe to you, bro. And in some ways, that corner 3 you made at the end of the shot clock, wow. You bailed us out. That made me think that's VanVleet. That's some VanVleet shit. He ran back into the inbounds and jumped in the corner, and they threw it to him. And right at the last second, he had to let it fly, and boom, right in the net. Yeah, Shetty. Man, you make me so proud. And honestly, that was good work. Like I said, that one unit, the bench with Brandon, with Shed as the point guard, was killing it. Now, y'all notice too, this is another thing we got to give Darko credit for. He split the minutes with Q and Shed even last night. Emmanuel quickly played 27 minutes. Shed got 21, and that's way more than before. It's like Emmanuel's been getting over 30 minutes, but Shed got a little bit more equal time out there last night. And that's the coach, coaching. And I appreciate that. In some ways, Emmanuel's been a little erratic and all over the place with his game, and having more steady Sheddy out there for more of the game was actually helpful in us winning last night. Yeah, I don't want to dump on Emmanuel too much, but he was having a tough game last night. And I don't know what's going on with him, man. In some ways, he's just got to settle down. But I like this trend of Shed eating up some of his minutes, because in some ways, the team just runs more smoothly and just seems to make more sense in some ways. Now, IQ, you got a lot you can still do. I still want you to be an amazing player for the Raptors and show your ultimate talent at the highest level in a Raptors jersey. So there's still a lot of time, and you're still the starter. But Shed, if he gets more equalized with you in minutes, I'm not going to be upset, because that's adding up to winning. That's adding up to winning. Yeah, I guess honorable mention to Sandro Mamu for the game last night. He was part of the winning lineup coming off the bench. 11 points for Sandro, 19 minutes, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. Big block. There were a couple of big blocks in the game last night. Barnes had a big block too. Yeah, it's just fun game last night. And Sandro 1 of 3 from 3, made all 6 of his free throws. Just very active, and he was really dedicating himself to going after and getting the rebounds. So I appreciate that. Once again, some of the new Raptors are causing some of our problems, and Sandro's one of them too. Sandro's missed assignments. Sandro's done some boneheaded things. Collins, one of the things I like about Colin is he's really a good player. He's talented, but he doesn't know what he's doing yet. And in some ways, he's causing a lot of our issues so far this season, because he's a rookie and he's making rookie mistakes that are really kind of subtle ones that most people wouldn't see. But it's really, once again, this is normal for a big or somebody who's got to play defense low post, is placement and where you are, is knowing where you're supposed to be at all times, and where you're supposed to hedge, when you're supposed to kind of shadow, when you're supposed to kind of cheat and kind of play different areas, and where you're supposed to change your focus and turn to. Colin's not totally getting that yet. In some ways, he's still playing the college game, and he's not understanding the NBA game for how much it takes. And some of the stuff that we're getting scored on down low is Colin Murray-Boyle's fault. It's because he doesn't know, and he has to learn. And in some ways, there's rookie mistakes that are happening with him while he's on the court that make us worse. And that's just normal. Everybody who's come through as rookies in the last, Jonathan went through this last year where there were rookie mistakes where he wasn't placed in the right place. He missed his assignments. This happened more at the beginning of the year. And as the year went on, Mobo figured it out, and he was getting more in the right places on defense with his placement. And Colin's going to have that learning curve too. Koloko went through it too. When we had Koloko in his rookie season, there was all kinds of mistakes that Christian was making and where he was supposed to be. And it was seriously hurting us. So I think in some ways, when we're analyzing why did the Raptors start 1-4, we got to be honest that some of the new faces on our team threw us off with our system from last year that we did at the end of the year. And those 3 faces are our rookie, our big time slim, sleepy sniper, and our new guy from Georgia, Sandro, because they in some ways they're gonna miss defensive assignments because they don't totally exactly know how we do it here in Toronto yet, and they're still learning. So yeah, all right, let's see what else you guys are saying in the chat. We'll do the box score, the Instagram stories, all the fun stuff we do on this channel. It's awesome. It's awesome to see a win last night. I felt so good. I feel bad for the Blue Jays, but in some ways, I'm like, man, I'm on cloud nine because the Raptors finally won again. And not only that, it was an in-season tournament game. I keep harping on that. In some ways, I'm like wondering, does Kenny Atkinson care about the in-season tournament? I don't know if he does. This may actually very well be something that develops with this stupid tournament over the years, is that some people are just not going to compete in it because they don't give a shit. Seriously. Some people may think it's a distraction. Some teams may be like, I don't want to go to Vegas. I'd rather just play the game here at home when they get those games. Is the in-season tournament really worth it? I mean, they did say that the players did get up for it and they do want that money. That's what they said in those interviews. It's like, yeah, we want to play for it. We want to do that. But Cleveland not playing 3 out of their 4 All-Stars, well, it seems like they didn't care about winning this game last night. Seriously. And I'm okay with that because we won it, and now we're in a good shape in the Group A. But I'm wondering about this. Like, seriously, are some teams not going to take the in-season tournament seriously and just kind of like, who cares? They're just 82-game season. Just because of special court, and they said this is a big deal? I feel like I get that feeling from some teams. I felt that feeling from our team in the 2 years before this. That, like, are they taking this in-season tournament seriously? Like, do they give a shit? Like, is this any different than one of the other 82 games? Seriously. Sometimes I was wondering if the Raptors even knew it was a special game, the way they played in it. Well, the way that the Cavs didn't care about having their roster and they sat Jared Allen with his finger out, it seemed like they were in some ways saying, we don't care about winning the in-season tournament. I wonder how Cavs fans feel this morning. Seriously. How do y'all feel about this? I mean, after having your amazing season last year, regular season, not so good in the playoffs, them not trying to win this, like, y'all are supposed to be the top team in the East with the Knicks. And your team just lost to the Raptors in their first in-season tournament game. Y'all don't feel good about that, do you, Cavs Nation? We hadn't beat the Cavs in a couple of years. We got swept by them last year. And, well, we beat them in the first game of the season this year. And we can play them 2 more times this month, right now in November. And we won't see them again for the rest of the year. So we'll get 3 games with them. We're already up 1-0. And we'll come back and we'll play in Cleveland on the 13th. And then they come here to Toronto on the 24th. So that's it. We won't play them again. We only play them 3 games. Maybe we'll play them in an in-season tournament game on the other side. I don't know. Probably not, especially if we're going to Vegas. Yeah, it's big time, big time. Let's see. Trevor J said this. Hope everybody woke up feeling good this morning and always believe in your team. That's right. That's right. And that's what I was saying too. Like, I want positive vibes. I feel like in some ways I'm really worried this morning for the Jays. Jays Nation, listen to me, okay? Don't go the way of the Maple Leafs right now. Don't be like the Maple Leafs Nation today. You need to listen to the Raptors Freak and listen to Raptors Nation and keep your mind open to success. Don't get cynical today. No. Not just because you're facing a game 7, do or die, winner takes all, and you're worried about it and you didn't get things done last night in game 6. No. We don't want this. Don't chicken little this shit. Stay confident, stay positive, vision success. Like Trevor said, his words of wisdom, believe it and see it in your head and make it reality, manifest it. Seriously, I don't want the Blue Jays to choke like the Maple Leafs would. I want y'all to win like the Raptors would. So get this knot in your brain. And if you are a Leafs fan that's rooting for the Blue Jays, just shut up today, all right? Just shut up. You have nothing to add to anything that will help the Blue Jays in a Game 7 situation against the Dodgers tonight. So just shut the fuck up and be quiet and watch. Because Blue Jays fans don't need the Maple Leaf fans' energy in this situation right now. So just because y'all share the color blue, Blue Jays, you got red in that Maple Leaf. And go with the Raptors red, positivity, and coming back and win. Because that's part of why we won last night in the in-season tournament against Cleveland. So be open to success. Be open to good things happening. Don't be so cynical. Don't be so pessimistic. Don't listen to the fuck faces that lost to the Panthers once again this year in the playoffs. No, Don't listen to that part of the fan base in Toronto. No, don't listen to the hockey people. Fuck them. They're jaded, cynical, and they're miserable fucks. Listen to the Raptors fans. You could do this. We believe in you. You guys got this. You're going to beat the Dodgers. You're going to get the third World Series today. That's right, because it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day in the neighborhood is actually a neighborhood because the building's down there and we're down there. I've always wanted to have a neighbor like the Sky Dome. I've always wanted to play baseball there, yo. Let's make the most of this beautiful Game 7. Let's beat Dodgers and be in World Series heaven. Could you be mine? Would you be mine? Won't you be a World Series title tonight for the Toronto Blue Jays? Woo! That's right. Seriously, y'all. Power of positivity will get you further than any kind of negative telling yourself you can't, this, that, and that. Now, no. Pause, Maple Leaf Nation. Nobody needs to hear from you today. That's right. Jays Nation, stand tall, stand confident, take care of business, and get it done. I don't want to hear any cynical bullshit from any fucking Maple Leaf fans about the Blue Jays. Oh, they're going to choke. Oh, we're going to lose again. Oh, you fucking sorry pieces of shit. Just get over yourself. 1967, I know. Just shut up. Just shut up. I can't stand Leafs Nation when Toronto sports teams are having trouble. They come out of the woodworks like little sorry jackasses that are just so miserable. How are you live with yourselves? Just get a life and start being more positive with your life, Leaf Nation, you toxic ass busters. Seriously, the Blue Jays don't need your energy right now. So let the Blue Jays strive and achieve and fly like the beautiful bird in my yard. Seriously, y'all. Seriously, I'm saying this. Seriously, feel good. And let's go get it. That's right. Trevor J saying this. Grady and IQ will still not in rhythm yet, but they will get it together. Yeah. Listen, I'm not mad at Grady. I'm not worried about Grady either. You know, he's smart enough kid to understand, even if Jamison Battle does this, it's not a threat to him. Because in some ways, Grady is going to know he's going to get his time. In some ways, this is fantastic. We want a diversity of sharpshooters on our team that we can depend on. And Jamison Battle in some ways takes some of the pressure off Grady. Because Grady, we really do need you to do what Jamison did last night. And you will. I know you will at some point. Now you're different. In some ways, Jamison is really way more dialed in and something else. As Jack Armstrong described his shot as pristine, idyllic. He was saying, using all these crazy words to describe Jamison Battle's shot release and stuff like that. And I love it. Grady was not hanging his head. Grady's confident. Grady, in some ways, he knew he didn't have it exactly in the first half. He did have a thunderous dunk, which was beautiful. I love that highlight for you, young Grady. But in some ways, look, he may get his number. Look, all it takes is Grady getting in there in the first half and hitting a couple threes, and boom, all of a sudden he's getting the second half minutes. But I like that Darko did this. In fact, this was something I said he needed to do a couple months ago. It's like, look, start Grady, not start him, but bring him in off the bench first in the first half. But if he doesn't have it from outside, don't play him the second half minutes. Give him to Jamison. And that's exactly what Darko did last night. And it worked. It worked. You got two shots. You got two sharpshooters. One of them is going to be on. Well, hopefully one of them will be on. And you go with the one that's on. And you play that one later. Now, if Grady came out, he was gangbusters, and he hit the couple threes he took, well, he maybe would have been playing the whole game instead of Jamison. I like that. There's some reserve backup just in case, Grady doesn't have it. And Jameis can step in and do that. In some ways, the floor spacing, when we see how powerful it can be to help out everybody in different ways, we need it. We need it. And some people are saying we can't afford Matt Devlin said in the broadcast last night, we can't afford to have Jamison off the floor right now. He's just providing so much good spacing. Yeah. That's right. That's right. And that's what happens when people start shooting good. All of a sudden, Brandon Ingram has a lot of room to maneuver in the middle. That's right. That's right. Yeah, it's beautiful stuff. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. IQ, man, I want you to, in some ways, man, just do what you're going to do, bro. And in some ways, I feel like you'll get this figured out too. IQ is one big, huge game away from everybody being like, yeah, we still love you. Seriously. I don't want to dump on IQ too much. In some ways, I was watching him, and there was some weird boneheaded shit he did last night. There was some weird stuff like, why is he doing? What is that? What is going on there? But still, in some ways, it's like, look, IQ, you're going to get it figured out, and we trust you, and we will believe in you. I'm sorry if I said, oh, I don't totally trust him because he seems like he may not be trying right for the team. But I get it. In some ways, you're trying to do your game, and in some ways, you're changing as a player, and there's a little bit of growing pains. I get it. I get it to a degree. I get it. James is saying this: Battle saved the night with his shooting. Yeah, he's definitely the MVP, and we utilized a power on our team finally to win the game. I mean, people have said this for a lot of the last year. Play Battle more. Play Battle more. Let him shoot more. Well, Darko did it. He cashed that chip last night, and this may open the door for way more opportunity for Jamison. He's very confident and calm about it. I really like the demeanor. I think it's so hilarious. Of course, there was that thing they did at Calgary where they had to make 100 turn into 200 or something on a piece of paper. And Jamison did it. And nobody else could figure it out. And Scotty and Oshai were there standing with him. And Scotty got so excited when Jamison solved the riddle. And Scotty said, he's like that. He's like that. He's yelling. And the Raptors admin posted this little clip after the game in celebration. He's like that. He's like that. So the specialist. Yeah, that's what we call him. That's his nickname now. He is the specialist. And that's what Scotty called him. He's like, this is a specialist. Jamison Battle. So, yeah, you guys have a nickname for Jamison. It's the specialist. That's what Scotty Barnes calls him, just like he calls Jurassic Park Area 15 or something like that. I don't know. But, yeah. The specialist came to the game, and he specialized in being perfect from shooting. And that's what he did last night. Yeah, he was awesome, man. James saying, Lex, is Battle our best shooter now? If so, he deserves minutes. He is technically our best shooter. Yeah. He just has been since he showed up. In some ways, he was steady. That's how he got on our team. He showed up in Summer League as an undrafted, and he was wowing us at Summer League last year. And ever since then, he's been really showing a steady thing. That's why in some ways, this is what I want to see, man. But I don't know if he's going to get down there because the signs are that he's not going to be that heavy in 905 this year. He's not on their roster really, and they're not really promoting him as being a 905 player this year. But I feel like there's a real goal to have him down there and be like a dominant scorer where he gets to shoot like 20 shots and see if he can get like 30 or 40-point games. Just because he's shooting a lot. Now, he had chances to do that last year as one of the main guys on 905. But I don't know. I don't know. In some ways, the plan, it seems like with Jamison, is to keep him on the main team and not use him on 905 this year. Because there really aren't that many overtures that he's going to be down there. Seriously. Their roster's pretty full. And in some ways, they don't need Battle on 905. So it's an interesting situation. I agree with you, James. If he's going to shoot and be the best shooter on our team, he deserves more minutes. And, I think last night with what he did is going to get him more minutes. He's going to damn for sure play in the next game. He's not going to be a DMP, I would hope. I would hope that, Grady only played 5 minutes. That's the thing, and that's what you do. And Grady needs to know this, is you put Grady in first. You give him a chance because in some ways Grady's a higher draft pick. He's a higher pay scale. You give him a chance, and in those first 5 minutes, if Grady's got it, Grady continues. If Grady doesn't, you pull the hook and you start putting Jamison in instead. And I think that's fair because in some ways you're still giving Grady the opportunity to be above him on the rotation. And that's up to Grady whether he plays excellent enough to get his later minutes. But I like that. Nothing is just given. It's earned. And in some ways, every night you got to earn it again. And it depends on your percentage and how much you're hitting. That's right. Trevor J saying this. RJ says he was mad in his post-game interview. Yeah, they've been mad. And I like that. When they got it, I like this because it sounds like they did this independent of Darko to a degree. They did this independent of Darko. They basically, the players got in a huddle and they started talking. And Darko said he was proud of them. He said that I was proud of seeing how they worked it out themselves in the huddle about accountability and what they want to do. And they're together. I think a lot of the losing this past week that made us doubt things. We were just thinking the worst case scenario and everything's fine still. That these guys are totally playing for the team. I know that Jamison in his post-game interview said, we believe in coach and we just want to do what coach says and we want to win. And that's very much a sign of him saying right there, Darko hasn't lost the locker room. No, He hasn't lost the locker room. These guys are still very much following him and confident in his coaching and his strategies. Because, in some ways, when you lose and you have failure, people may want to come and pull strings apart, and people start writing bullshit on social media and saying this and saying that. It's outside the circle of trust of the Raptors, and it should be disregarded and ignored. Seriously, because the reality of the inside of the situation, these guys are telling us in the interviews, and you can feel it and you can tell it. It's just they didn't like the losing. And in some ways, leadership needed to rise up. And Darko described it as like, I was very happy to see, Scotty and RJ take initiative to be like, nah, we ain't doing it like this. And light a fire in their asses as leaders in the huddle to get something done. And then boom, on the court, we see the changes and they come home with a victory. So these are important things that happened last night. I love seeing the in-game leadership and these guys circling in the huddle and saying, this is what we got to do, guys, and getting results from it too. And they did that. Yeah, that was really, really good. Really, really, really good. That's right. That's right. G saying, it's almost like we have been saying play Battle. I know you guys have been saying it. And well, we got to understand also Battle. We're lucky in some ways Battle hit all of his shots. He was just very, very hot. But this is another thing right now is like he's a fundamentally strong player with his shot. Like he really did build his shot really well. And it's crazy how he makes them. Seriously, some of them are very contested and some of them are crazy long ones. Like we had him last time he had some crazy 3-point shooting. He was shooting it at the half court logo almost to make some of the shots. That was the Boston game, that one game, right? He was at the Boston logo. We lost that game. In the end, it was in preseason, but he made 2 threes that were basically on the leprechaun right at the end of the game there. It's crazy, man. Yeah, Nako's here. Good to see Gerald. Y'all check out the comedy stylings of Gerald Mayhew. If you see him on the marquee at Comedy Bar or any other comedy yucks or whatever, it's Gerald Mayhew, Raptor Freak, Nako the Nacho. If Battle shoots like that every night, he'd have to be the absolute best 3-point shooter in the league. Well, it's interesting because that performance from Battle last night apparently was the 3rd most efficient game ever played in the NBA. Yeah, his true shooting percentage was like off the charts. And like he's had one of the 3rd best, most efficient games ever. I mean, because he didn't miss. You have to not miss to do that. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of guys that are like him, and I'm glad we have a guy like him on our team. I mean, if you think about it, Sam Hauser, that guy that's Merrill, who's on the Cavs, who was hurt last night, he didn't play. There's different guys that kind of are in this kind of role around the league that are just very much sharpshooters. It's very much a Jason Capono kind of role. And but to Battle's credit, he's put on muscle. And Darko said this after the game last night. He said, Battle has been perfect with building his body and getting his body exactly as best as he can. Like he has done as much as he can to do his body, to build up his muscles and be a better defender and rebounder. So that commitment of Jamison in that way to physically change his body in the last year as a Raptor, that's top notch, man. That's awesome. And not to mention that the dude seems like he's a Mensa member with his really smart guy, high IQ. Really, really smart because he knows those puzzles. The specialist. Amazing guy, man. Amazing guy. Isaac's here. Laugh out loud. Dunk it, G. All right, yeah, we'll do that. It's true. Y'all have been calling out for Battle to do this for a while. I will recognize this. And, well, maybe it was just the train had to arrive at the station at this point. And, well, secret's out. Now, don't get mad if things backtrack or mysteriously Jamison is not playing as much as you think he should be, even though he had this perfect game last night. We just got to allow things to happen the way they're supposed to. And, well, he's definitely got more good faith in getting more time. I would say that. Isaac's saying this. Shout out to RJ. So solid every single day of the week. That's right. We love RJ. RJ's a steady person for us. We love him in Toronto. Do not ever trade him, Bobby Webster. Never, ever trade RJ. It's not allowed. And I love this movement that we've started here. The Raptor Freaks have emanated a movement around Raptors fan nation. There's nope, you ain't trading our hometown hero, RJ Barrett. No, 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 no. It would be very unpopular if you did it, Bobby. And in some ways, think about all the very easy cross promotion of having a Canada captain on our team that plays for Canada. This is a very important thing. There's good Canadians in this league. And in some ways, I love having the 2nd best Canadian player in the entire league after SGA on the Toronto Raptors. And I don't want to change that because I do really believe not Jamal Murray, but RJ Barrett is the second best Canadian player in the NBA right now. And in some ways, I love hearing the support in comment sections on Facebook, on Reddit, on X, on Instagram. Don't ever trade RJ. People are writing that shit all over the place. And I love you for it. You are my people. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. Seriously. Fiercely saying, good morning, fam, and happy Saturday. Gad, we lose to Gad? Gad? What is Gad? Gad, we lose to the Cavs. Had we lost to the Cavs, it would have really looked bad. Yeah, it would have. But I'm glad we pulled it together and got the dub. We still need to figure out the defense. Yeah, this would have been really bad. Seriously, it would have been demoralizing. It would have been something where I'm like, fuck, man, we had our team basically just not yak, and we just lost to as they described it on the other side. The Cavs people are saying a skeleton crew on Halloween. A skeleton crew of Cavs came to the game. You called them cadavers yesterday. Well, in some ways, it's kind of like that because their team was not that talented. I mean, they were scraping the bottom of the barrel. It's not like the Cavs have a very deep, good team. And without three of their main starters, and including their sharpshooter, Sam Merrill, that is a tough team to try and win with. I mean, you're playing Luke Travers many minutes. You got Lonzo Ball out there as your second best player. That's bad. That's bad. Although DeAndre Hunter is more the second best player. It's Evan Mobley, Hunter, and then Ball. But yeah, that's bad. That's bad. That Tyson guy was pretty good too. But yeah, no, we had no business losing this team. And in fact, at times in the second half, our talent and level of who we had compared to them was absolutely outclassing them. If they had better players, in some ways, we may have been in danger. So I'm just glad that things that happened the way it did. Some Raptors fans are being cynical and being assholes, and maybe they're Leaf Nation people, and say, we shouldn't be proud of this game at all. They weren't even the real Cavs. And if we almost lost to them, we didn't even blow them out. Yeah, just let us have this W, asshole. This is what I say to you right now. We got the job done. We won. And in some ways, I'll take that right now, considering we lost 4 games before that. So, yeah, assholes who are not allowing us to celebrate the win that we got last night, just shut the fuck up and go somewhere else. Seriously. The Raptors won. We took care of business. We didn't lose to a skeleton crew. Thank God. And in some ways, everybody who's trying to point that out and be all on that side in the comment sections around Raptors Nation right now, just shut the fuck up and let us enjoy a win. Seriously. There's not a whole lot of joy in some ways in this life right now. And in some ways, we want to enjoy the things we can. So we don't need negative ninnies coming in here and saying, oh, yeah, they're not doing that good. They just barely beat a shitty Cavaliers team. Shut up. Shut the fuck up. Nobody gives a shit about your opinion. We won. We're going to enjoy it. And we're going to celebrate. In fact, I was dancing after we won last night. I was so happy. I was like, yeah, I didn't even know what was going on in the Blue Jays game. I didn't know that they were shortly just about to lose game 6. In some ways, I didn't care. In some ways, I do want the Blue Jays to win. But Raptors winning and me watching that and getting those vibes and seeing Jamison Battle and feeling all the good stuff and seeing Leo Routins in his crazy ass Halloween costume looking like he's a 5th member of Poison, the hair metal band. This was just a fun night, a good Halloween, and I enjoyed it. And I wanted to have a Friday night dance party afterwards. And I didn't want to hear negative ninnies in this comment sections raining on parade saying, oh, it was a shitty Cavs team. We should have won. Of course we won. Yeah, but we had a chance to lose and fail and feel even more miserable in the abyss of losing. And losing 5 games in a row. Oh, gross. No, that's what I'm saying. And I even called it yesterday morning. When we started the stream yesterday, I said, we got a good chance to win tonight. This is a night where we flip the script. We turn the page and we write a new story, Raptors. And that's what they did. They wrote a new story, a story of success, a story with a win instead of the losing the last 4 games. And I love them for it. Thank you. And in some ways, you get that spark lit, the fire can start burning again. And then we can start going forward with these games, take them 1 game at a time and start winning them. In fact, I look at what we got next. We got Memphis tomorrow. They're in disarray. John Moran is acting like a knucklehead already. And yeah, we'll have the scout and everything on the preview tomorrow morning. And then we got to play Milwaukee again. And they come in here to play us in Toronto again. And we're going to try and lose to the Milwaukee Bucks twice at home already this season. Fuck that. We owe them something. We need to beat the Bucks on Tuesday. We beat the Bucks, we beat Memphis, and all of a sudden our record is even. We're 4-4. And then, well, we're clean slate. Let's go forward. And we got Cleveland again. Oh no, we got Atlanta in the in-season tournament on Friday night next week. Yeah, and that's a winnable game. We've already gone to Atlanta, beat Atlanta and Atlanta. So this time it's going to be in-season tournament Atlanta and Atlanta. And hopefully we can beat that game. That's the toughest in-season tournament game now at this point. We win this one. And then we got Washington and Indiana. And then maybe a trip to Las Vegas. So what's not to like, Raptors fans? You could be 1-4 and feel like the sky is falling and everything sucks, Chicken Little. But you know what? You get up the next day, you got another day to succeed and try again. And that's what the Raptors are doing. So never count them out. It's too early in the 82. It's too early in the 82. That's right. It's too early in the 82. That's right. Fiercely saying only Mobley and Hunter were impactful on the team. Lex is right. Lonzo Ball is bad, but Jamison, wow. Wow. Yeah, I'm going to go look at the Cavs for a second. For any Cavs fans who want to come in and hear a Raptors fan talk about their team real quick. Yeah, Evan Mobley, I got to give him more and more credit. You know, he is a very good player. I begrudgingly said that. But yeah, he may have been the best player on the court overall last night. 29 points, 11 of 17. But alas, he's a one-man show right now. And in some ways, that's not going to be enough. He had 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, and a block. But yeah, he was carrying them. Also, Jalen Tyson, really a powerful game, 18 points. He was annoying. He was very sharp-edged. He was very getting after it, very aggressive. DeAndre Hunter is a good player. He did very well too. 26 points for him with 6 rebounds, 2 assists. Yeah, those 3 guys were really carrying them the most. At one point, you know, at halftime, listen to this. At halftime, the Cavs had only 4 players that had scored. At halftime, only 4 of their players had scored. So, and they had like 9 guys that already played. So like 5 or 6 of them had not scored in the first half. Only 4 of them had scored at halftime. That was a pretty interesting stat there. But yeah, this is not the best team here, and they don't have depth. And that should be worrisome to Cavs fans. It's like, look, I know it won't be normal where you're going to have 3 out of your 4 out. But man, y'all don't have no depth. It's obvious. And like Matt and Jack were talking about with the cap situation with you guys, if you guys aren't going to win with this, you got to bust the team up. And that's probably meaning Donovan Mitchell's going somewhere else, honestly. Yeah, I'm so glad they beat them. And we did not have any business losing to that Cavs team last night. We did not have any business with that. Nope. Fiercely saying this. Jamison Battle was the spark we needed last night. Kudos to him. Rough game for IQ, but I'm not turning on him. Yeah. Honestly, I want to be supportive towards him, especially because we won. There's no reason to dump on people. I don't like that from Raptors Nation either. It's like, okay, we won. We got a good team effort and we won, but y'all want to pick one person and just pick on them. And sure, IQ is probably the easiest one to pick on right now. 27 minutes, 4 points, 1 rebound, 6 assists, 2 steals, 2 turnovers. He shot 22%, 2 of 9, missed all 3 of his threes. Yeah, he had a tough scoring night. In some ways, I like the fact that, once again, we balanced his minutes more with Shed. And I don't know, Emmanuel, you just got to start doing the next winning play and just, tighten up. And I'm sure you'll be fine. The rookie, Colin Murray-Boyles, had a little bit of a regression in the game last night. 20 minutes with 6 points. He got 4 rebounds and shot 2 of 5. He did not attempt the 3. He was a minus 16, which is the worst plus-minus on our team last night. And that's what I'm saying. In some ways, Colin is a very strong young man. He's a very promising young man, but he's also a very green young man. And that means he's making a lot of unseen mistakes that y'all don't totally perceive because he's not exactly in the right places at all the right times. But this is all part of the learning curve. And he's going to get it. And that minus 16 will change. But there's so much promise. One of the things I like that I saw with Murray-Boyles last night was his effort around the basket. This is a thing. Scotty and Colin were operating right next to the basket with defenders on them, and they were having success with the power game, which is basically like, I don't give a shit if you're next to me. I'm going to put the ball in the basket, even if you're here. And I like that because in some ways we've not done well at the rim with people around us. And honestly, like most of the Raptors history. And if we have these two powerful, strong forwards in Barnes and Murray Boyles that both can do low post moves with strength, where they're going up with power and they're making things happen, that's awesome. Because in some ways, I'm seeing some flashes of footwork and up and unders and very intelligent low post offensive moves to evade the defense to make the basket go in. And a part of this also is, guys, second and third effort just in case. And Scotty, you get that nice little shot over somebody and they're holding your arms and it doesn't go exactly clean. It bounces around on the rim, comes back off. You go back up the second time, you grab it and you put it back in. If you don't make it that time, you make it, go get it again. And you take a third shot and you just keep going until you make it. And Colin, the same thing. But yeah, there was one move that Colin made last night near the basket with a defender in front of him, and he scored on a veteran defender from the league. In some ways, that's a very powerful move as a rookie to have that know-how and get that in there. So I'm proud of him for that. Ochai Agbaji off the bench, 17 minutes. In some ways, he didn't score much. He got 3 points, but he was extremely solid. Once again, Agbaji is one of these players where he doesn't have to score nothing, and he's absolutely helping us win. Absolutely helping us win because he's just a very, very on top of it defender. We saw our guys rotating way better. We saw our guys playing with effort and getting after it, and I appreciate you guys for that. In some ways, y'all were not putting in the proper level of effort in the first 5 games of the season, and now you are. You did last night, and keep going. Don't get lackadaisical. You got to do this every night. And in some ways, your minutes should depend on whether you are making your full rotation to get out the people when they're taking shots. Seriously. Like, Brandon, you got to come and step out a little bit further. Evan Mobley hit a 3 over you at one point, and you were not totally up on him. If you had been totally out on him, he would have missed it. So we got to close out, and we got to go and get people on the perimeter. And we've got to rotate. And in some ways, making crazy steals, trying to make a steal up front where you get pulled out of the play and everybody has to over-rotate because of that, that's a detriment. So if you're gambling to make a steal, make sure you have a good high percentage of getting it. Seriously. Don't gamble if you don't because you're going to fuck up our defense. Plus 21 for Ochai. That's another sign that he was fantastic. 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block. Agbaji was a defensive force. And I love the block, man. These guys had some very impressive blocks last night, a couple of them. Jacoby Walter came out, and, he's showing the same baseline of steadiness. He's very dogged on defense. He's not taking time off on defense. He's very much getting his assignments and keeping up on people, and he's annoying. And he's also, I love this, man. One of the things the Raptors was doing last night was they were following people's shots to crash the boards to get offensive rebounds. There was one play where Scotty went up and he missed it, but all of a sudden Jacoby just came out from nowhere and flied through the air to try and get the rebound. He wasn't successful, but I love the effort, Jacoby. I love the effort. And honestly, like Agbaji, seriously, you could get time out there and not have to score if you're going to play all out on defense and make good things happen on the court for winning ways. And Jacoby Walter, I like what you do. 10 minutes for him, only 3 points. He made 1 3. He was 1 of 4 from the field. He had 1 offensive rebound and he had 1 turnover. But I'm not mad at him. I see what he's doing out there, and his energy is right, and he's doing things right. Yeah, Grady had a tough game. 5 minutes, 2 points. That one, the dunk that he got. And he really only took 1 3 and he missed it. In some ways, it's partly because his 3 was so open and it didn't look good. It didn't look good. So, yeah, Jonathan didn't get in last night, but that's okay. Jonathan's there for foul trouble, just in case. So, yeah, just an overall great team effort, coming after people and playing together. Playing together. That's important. That's important. That's right. Fiercey saying this. IQ works perfectly with Yak. Let's be patient. Yeah. Yeah, he'll look better with the big man out there with him. In some ways, he's just got to figure out more gameplay with other guys. Wow. I know he said he's very much working with Brandon very closely. So I want to see some of that chemistry between Ingram and quickly start to develop more and more as the season goes on. Yeah, Fish is saying this very rough display for Grady, sending him positive vibes. He didn't seem that upset. In fact, he was very much celebrating Jamison very well as a bigger man, and I appreciate you for that, Grady. As far as like, don't get down in the dumps. You got to be confident because your time's going to come too, and we believe in you, man. And you know, and what this is abundance mindset. This is not scarcity mindset. Scarcity mindset would be Grady should be so worried. Jamison did so good last night. He's going to steal everything from him. Bullshit. That's not the way to think. And that shouldn't be the way you think in your basic life either. You know, if somebody's successful near you, that doesn't mean they're taken away from you. That's the lie that everybody told you when you're growing up. No, Grady can get his moments to shine too. It's just when his number's called, he needs to execute to earn it. And when he does, he will. And it's not like he's out of anything or in trouble or anything. Darko's still going to use him, and we still very much need him to be good and be successful. It's just I like the idea of like, well, let's try him out. If the water's not the right temperature, well, you're going to stay out of the pool for a little while, Grady Dick, because we don't want shrinkage. Oh, did I do that? Seriously. If the water's not hot enough, Grady, you got to sit out. Battle's going in. Medved's here. Good to see Medved. Medved Ted. Thanks for the subscription, my guy. What are your thoughts of packaging IQ and Grady plus a 2026 first round pick for Ja Morant? Fuck that, man. No, we don't need no knucklehead up here, man. Listen, we wouldn't get Ja Morant, first of all, because he's a headache. He's fool's gold. I would not want Ja Morant on this team ever. I don't care how talented he is. This is the thing. I'm not sacrificing the team and the energy and who we are for a knucklehead. I don't care how talented he is. I think I've seen the people talking about this on Reddit this morning, and I'm like, why are they bringing up trying to get Ja Morant just because everything's going to shit in Memphis? No, he's the problem. We don't need a problem on our team. So big fat X, no. He's on my list to say we never need to have him in a Raptors jersey because that man has been a failure his whole entire career for one reason or another. Either he's too crazy, daredevil with his high-flying antics where he gets hurt, or he's playing fake-ass gangster gunplay in his outside life and being a distraction. This dude is not good for teams. He's a perfect example of a knucklehead who has all the talent in the world, but he's absolutely a loser because he doesn't fucking get it and how he should be. So hell no, Ted. Fuck that. That's my TED Talk for you. No, I'll stand on the red spot and say, no, we don't need Ja Morant up here. In fact, the deal I want to do is for Walker Kessler. It's not for Ja Morant. If you come to me and said, hey, I want to put this deal together to get Walker Kessler from the Utah Jazz, ooh, I'd be talking about that with you. Yeah, because that makes way more sense than bringing in another guard that we don't need. And honestly, IQ's better than Ja Morant to me. Seriously. And that may sound crazy to people. He's more steady and more better team player. I'd much rather have Quickly on my team than Ja Morant. Seriously. That's really how much I look down on Ja Morant. And also, I think that Emmanuel is more valuable than him. So, yeah, that's my honest opinion. Some people may say, no, man, you're crazy. How do you say that? No, because I don't just look at talent. I don't just look at scorer. I don't just look at, oh, he can dunk so cool, and it looks like he's a cosmonaut in space and he has no gravity. I don't give a shit about that. I give a shit about winning. And Ja Morant ain't done jack shit in Memphis to get there because he's fucked up the good teams they've had where they dismantled them, and they're just always a mess. And the Grizzlies have been bad because of Ja Morant, despite him being so good and being their best player. They can't count on him. Why the fuck would we want him up here so he can make us feel bad? You can ask Grizzly fans how they feel about Ja Morant, how frustrated they are with him. We don't need him. Brandon Ingram is a great player, and he's going to do things right because he's consistent, and we can depend on him. Hopefully, he'll stay as healthy as possible. Ja Morant, I ain't depending on him for nothing. He may have a court appearance and been thrown in jail all of a sudden because of some stupid-ass assault charge or some dumbass shit like that. So we don't even do this here. And somebody's up here in Canada, you know, we don't want to waste our time with knuckleheads or bad character people because we can't afford to have those people and waste our time with them. So, yeah, he's on a no-fly list at YYZ for me. That's right. That's right. No-fly list. Don't bring him up here. That's right. Nago saying, I don't think Lex is going to be very pro trading for Ja. Yeah. Yeah, Gerald called it. Jerry knows me. Jerry knows me personally for like 10 years now. Jerry, it's been about 10 years we've been friends, writing comedy together. We used to do shows downtown. That's right. That's right, Jerry. It's been about 10 years when we did the Schmendricks. That's right, Jerry Schmendricks. Yeah, those are the days, man. Rest in peace. We love you, Donish Ahmed. Rest in peace. I love my friend Donish. Man, I miss him, Gerald. I miss Donish. Man, I'm thinking about Donish. Tyler Later's back. Good to see Tyler back in the chat today. He's saying, I would do that yesterday. Unfortunately, Memphis never doing that. I wouldn't do that. That's stupid, man. Nobody needs that salary on him. And how much is the payback? See, there's a thing. You would want Joel Embiid too, wouldn't you? Fuck that. What is the return on these guys? They pay these guys this amount of money. How many games they actually play? Like, seriously, how many games has Big Dummy in Philadelphia actually played for Philadelphia? And how much money is it made off them? John Morant, same thing. How much money has Memphis paid John Morant? How much return have they got on him? Nah, this is a dead end. You guys, this is fool's gold. In some ways, y'all can say, oh, I'd do that yesterday. No, why would you do that yesterday? You got all the red flags right in front of you, and you can see just how much of a problem it is. How many years has he been in this league? How many times has he got far in the playoffs? And how much of a fool's goal is he? He's fool's gold. If you want highlights, you want somebody who can dunk, you want to play cosplay gangster in the street, that's the stuff you want for him. But he has no place in Canada. We have gun laws up here. And second of all, that motherfucker's always hurt. I don't want him on my team. You can say all this all you want. I'd rather have IQ. Seriously. I'd much rather IQ. Memphis never doing that. I doubt that at this point. Memphis probably is looking to shop him because he's been such a failure and a headache. Seriously, John Morant is a failure, guys. He's not a successful NBA player. He's a failure. And he didn't have to be. He got in his own way. And plus, once again, I'll say his style of play is dangerous for himself. He plays in a certain way that he's just going to get hurt regularly because he's not very smart about protecting himself. So, no, this isn't even a non-starter right here. That's right. That's right. Medved Ted saying Ja is pissed off with the new coach, the guy they just got, and probably wants to leave. Yeah, I don't care if he wants to leave. He can go play anywhere else, but not in Toronto. We don't need him up here. He was in his prime, 23, when Darko was assistant coach of the Grizzlies, and they were second in the West 2 straight years. Now, there's a good point. If anybody kind of knows him and maybe could work with him, it's Darko because of his history with the Grizzlies. But I still don't think this is a good idea. In fact, it'd be funny. Maybe this is a conversation. Here, we'll do a reenactment real quick. Hey, Darko, it's Bobby. I'm calling you guys. Yeah, I know you guys will be back soon, and we'll play Memphis tomorrow. You know Ja Morant's coming here, and the Grizzlies have actually sent me an offer to get Ja Morant on the Raptors. Oh, Bobby, listen, I love Ja. He's a very talented player, but no, we can't do this. He's a problem. We don't want him on our team. You serious? You think so, Darko? Yes, we're good. We don't need him. In some ways, he may be more problem than good for us. Okay, I'll take your advice since you were working with him for a few years in Memphis. Okay, thank you, Darko. Bye. Yeah, that may be what he says. Seriously. Because look, Darko is a good player coach. He can work with anybody, but can you fucking work with a person like Ja Morant? No. Because he in himself is a superstar, a franchise player, and he's a knucklehead. And first of all, if he was taking his career way more seriously, he would have cut out all his antics a long time ago, and he'd fucking be a better player in this league. But he's not. He's a knucklehead. And in some ways, eventually in the NBA, guys like him won't even have a place in this league. Seriously. Because nobody will waste their damn time on putting millions of dollars on a guy who's absolutely a waste of time. And he is a waste of time. Seriously. What has Memphis gotten out of him in all the years of this? Not jack shit. And they had a really good team for a little while there that could have done something, and it had to be dismantled. And in some ways, when they had that good team, Ja was nowhere to be found. So fuck that. You guys are interesting coming in here with this Ja Morant stuff, but fuck this. We don't want this. And if you guys are Grizzlies fans trying to put them off on us, no, we ain't taking them. No. We ain't. Fiercey's got RJ on blast here. Yeah, Fiercey's saying this for team cohesion. Thank you, RJ. Yeah, steady, real leader. No doubting the heart of RJ Barrett and where it lies for the team, the Toronto Raptors. That's right. Thank you for that cohesion. That's right. Tyler's saying this. We should have played way better. They had like 4 rotations out. Yeah, you could say that, but we took care of business and we won. And that's all I care about right now. Let's take the victory seriously and be happy with it. Because honestly, I hate losing. And winning a game is nice. And in some ways, we got out of the mud last night, and now we can go forward in this Memphis game tomorrow. I have a good feeling we can beat the Grizzlies and kick their ass tomorrow, especially since they're in disarray. And I'll do the scout tomorrow, and we'll have the preview tomorrow with all the latest lineup news and the referee report. And I'll give you guys the lay of the land. I was right yesterday. Maybe some Raptors fans didn't watch my preview yesterday where I said we could beat Cleveland tonight. And I was right, and we did. So that's one of the reasons why, if you guys want to know what's going on that night of the game, you come in here, I'll handicap the game for you, and I'll tell you exactly how good the chances are for the Raptors to win. Because I have a pretty good track record of this. And I've been doing this for 4 years straight, every single game. So, yeah, you love the energy. There you go. The Chloe, appreciate your sub, man. The Chloe 23. Thank you, man. Yeah, we try to have fun in here, man. I do one segment on the show where I'll do an impression. If you guys want to see me do an impression, I'll do a song. I'll do a song request. I'll do an impression of somebody. I like doing impressions. You know what I'm saying? All right, we're getting a call, y'all. Let's see who we getting here on the phone, y'all. We got our first call of the day here. Let's see. Caller, you're on the air on the Raptor Freak reaction stream. Hello? I think this is a butt dial. Okay, Kareem, you have lost the title of butt dialer, and I think we have to give it to, that was Adriana. Adriana just butt dialed me on my show. That's hilarious. All right, Neil, good to see you checking in, man. Fiercely saying this. She's got, is that Brandon? That's Brandon. Thank you, Brandon, for being a bucket in a pressurized environment. Scotty Barnes for showing Mobley why he got the Rookie of the Year title. Yeah. I mean, I listen, Scotty really did. This is the thing. Scotty's development and getting better is not totally a direct line. Like, he is doing little things that are little glimpses of possibilities more and more as he gets older and more vet, and he understands just how powerful he is. This has always been the case. There's like just little glimpses of like, wow, look what Scotty could actually do. If he could consistently do this, wow. And I think he will get more and more consistently in doing stuff. One of the things that we see he's doing more and more consistently are the little mid-range turnarounds. And all the offense is like 10 feet, 12 feet in the lane. Wow, Scott, it's amazing. And I'd much rather you habitate down there than just hanging around lazily outside, just jacking threes, lazy. No, we want you to go down there and open things up and show some really beautiful turnarounds and low post moves. And man, that stuff is becoming more and more. We didn't see that as much in his earlier years on the Raptors. And now in the last 2 years, we've seen more and more work in that area of the court. And that's why when I'm looking at what he saw with the tough stuff I was just talking about, the power stuff that he was doing near the basket, that like, wow, there's a lot to be mined there too. That over the years in the near future, hopefully we'll see Scotty put on the big boy pants more and more and start dominating around the basket with his strength and his combination of speed, strength, and his skill. Yeah. I want to see this more because I think so. Yeah, Tyler's saying 5 players actually. Yeah, I don't care. We've got the win. We can't control who's coming from the other side. The other side has a report, an injury report. This is something that people always try and water down our wins and say all this shit. But we can't control who's going to be there. And COVID was a weird time too, covering the team during COVID and realizing that, like, you know, there's going to be weird surprise people out of the lineup all of a sudden, and it's going to change the dynamics of the game. I don't give a shit. A win in the NBA is a win, and especially an in-season tournament win. Cleveland showed up with who they showed up with. We can't control that, and we took care of business. It would have been bad if we'd lost. That's what I say. Shaq Lindsay saying this. Can I get a dunk? Because yesterday I did pray for Darko to have a short leash on Dick, IQ, and Oshai to give Battle, Shed, and Jacoby more minutes. Battle is a keeper, bona fide sniper. You know what? I will give you a dunk for that, Shaq Lindsay, because I do remember you saying this stuff yesterday. And, well, he did. In some ways, this is the thing. Darko showed us he is coaching still last night. He very much did. I appreciate him so much. You gave me more information to give to everybody and to support you, Darko, and say this is why he's a good coach. He hasn't lost the locker room. The guys still really believe in him. And he was a tactician in the game last night. And he was smart to get the ball to Brandon in isolation a lot near the end of the game. He was smart to leave Jamison in there and let Jamison do that. He was smart for subbing out some people right away at the beginning of the third quarter when everything fell to shit as soon as they started so flat. And part of it was Colin. Colin Murray-Boyles was not playing right after halftime last night, and Darko gave him the quick hook. And that was the smart move because it started to change things back the other way, but we still had to go through a section of runs where Cleveland was coming back and getting a lead on us and scaring everybody. Because seriously, at that point in the game in the third quarter, it's like, we're going to lose to this Cleveland team? Seriously? We can't do that. We need to have pride. And I think that's part of what RJ and Scotty were telling the guys in that huddle to fix things. And I love that they took it upon themselves. In some ways, it wasn't totally the coach that got them righted last night. It was leadership from the players that got them righted last night when they were like, no, we can't do this anymore. You're right, Shaq Lindsay. And I appreciate you got the dunk. Raptors Champs is in the house. Good to see Raptors Champs. Positivity is right. That's right. Fuck this shit. The Blue Jays, I got their back against the wall in a Game 7 situation with Ohtani and the fucking Dodgers, the biggest payroll in baseball. Is it going to pay for a World Series? Dodgers? Is MLB going to do some funny shit? I've heard there's some bad umpiring calls in this couple of these games this week. Maybe there was something last night that was a little fishy and something like that. Y'all trying to script right? World Series, MLB? Come on now. You don't want the Blue Jays to actually win. You get a 7-game series, get all that money, but you don't actually want them to win. Well, go get it, Vladdy. Fuck them. I want you to win, Vlad Guerrero Jr. Get that third World Series. Make sure Toronto Blue Jays are a perfect 3-3 in championships when they appear in the World Series. So let's get it. Let's get it right there. That's right. Positivity, Raptors Champs. That's right. This is an infusion against the cynicism of the average Toronto sports fan that's been built up over the decades of rooting for the Leafs. Fuck that shit. We going to get this tonight, Blue Jays, and we will not fail because of cynicism, is what I'm saying right now. Shaq Lindsay saying this: if Battle can put up this kind of production, especially limited playing time, then what does this say about our other shooting guards? Battle's salary is less than $2 million, but he stays hungry. I just feel, hang on, it jumped ahead. I just feel, wow, I got to make sure I get the right spot. It jumped ahead. I hate when it does that, man. It makes it harder for me. I just feel the others get too comfortable. Jamison's weird, man. I mean, in some ways, he's like a robot. Like, his shot is so set. And Grady's like this too, but Grady's in some ways has fluctuation and weird. Like, because Grady kind of floats when he shoots. He doesn't really get totally set. The thing is that some of our best three-point shooters get really set. Like RJ gets really set. IQ, when he's hitting his three, is really set with his weird stance and pushing it like that. Brandon has a certain foot set when he takes threes. And if he's got his feet in the right place, he makes it. Grady's is a little bit deviating all over the place. Grady, in some ways, is kind of a whimsy kind of player. And in some ways, he may float a little bit. And in some ways, he's a field shooter. But Jamison's more a straight shooter with his footwork and squaring up. And that's a big part of his secret of success on being so deadly. All right, Neil's calling in. Let's see what Neil's got to say today. Neil, you're on the air on the Raptor Freak Reaction channel. What's going on, my guy?
What's up, my brother?
Whoa, get that phone on your mouth, man. You're not talking clearly. Hello?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you now.
That was my glasses, the Meta glasses. Anyways, what's going on, my brother?
Not much, man. Just reacting to the show, man. Did you enjoy the game last night?
I enjoyed the game, but you know what? I'm not putting over expectations on the team. I think everybody's just getting a little bit too hyped up when all the Raptors said was just their goals. It's goals. Everybody's supposed to have goals. So we just need to just relax and enjoy the game, enjoy the journey, like I said yesterday.
Yeah, I'm really big on saying, you guys, we're fans. We're not GMs. We're not coaches. You never fucking played in the NBA. A lot of people, so what are we talking about?
I look at it differently. I look at it because I work in HR, right? I'm not an HR person, but I work in HR for the technical side of it, right?
Okay.
And the whole thing is everybody's supposed to have goals. Why are we overreacting on when people are saying, okay, we're going to be in the playoff? Did you want them to say they were going to be in a bowling alley instead? They said exactly what they're supposed to say.
Yeah, but I listen, they don't have to say that. They could just not say anything at all. They can just say, we're just trying to be successful. I think that that's a real goal. And I think that they're still going to very much do it.
Right.
I think that it's just like, I mean, I
But
get what you're saying, but they,
really
you know what? They
them,
didn't really
us.
say this last year. They didn't say this last year. So there's the difference right there.
But it's really not them. It's us. We're overreacting on everything they say.
That's
true.
You
know what I mean?
That's true.
People got to calm down. It's like you can't expect them not to say nothing. you got to expect that they're going to say something, but only time proves whether their words are correct or they have to go back to the drawing board.
Right.
You know, but everybody's like, "Oh, burn it all down, get rid of Darko and ship this person out." And like, come on, what you're
listen,
saying
I don't even want to talk about all this stuff because in some ways these people are definitely overreacting way too early.
Overreaction.
Yeah, and in some ways it's like once again, I'll say this: in some ways it shows a lack of experience or maturity or understanding or watching the NBA for many years. Yeah, it's a lot of young people, or it's maybe just people that just came to the NBA since the championship, and they have a really not a fully rounded vision of everything that has to do with basketball. Yeah. And it's just that everybody can have an opinion and they can put it out there and people will see it. Because there's some people that definitely do not need to be having opinions on the Raptors because they don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Yeah, seriously. But people got to know how far to take their opinion. Like, don't take it to the extent where you're going overboard. Like, okay, you didn't
my thing is this: they are allowed to have their opinions. Go ahead and have your opinions. Right. I'm just not going to go look at them anymore. I rarely ever look at comment sections anymore. I go on Reddit and I see really shitty takes on posts in Reddit, and I'm just like, I don't need to look at this. I just don't give my attention to this shit anymore. There's so much of it. I mean, in the beginning, like when the internet was kind of newer, I would go and fight, be a keyboard warrior and fight people in comments and change shit. But there's no point in doing this. This is a huge forest fire that's just burning out of control and I ain't able to put it out. And in some ways, I don't care anymore. It's like all that noise doesn't matter anymore. Like in some ways, like, look, I in some ways a hypocrite for talking about it like this and say, well, you're just putting your opinion out like this, Lex. Well, in some ways, I have a platform because I'm actually showing my face. Yeah, but I'm actually saying it, and I'm actually showing up every day. And some of these people are just writing keyboard shit. And like I said, half of them aren't even for our team, really. They're just cynical, half-assed fair weather fans, Toronto fans that only root for the team when they're winning, or on top of that, they could also be actual fans of other teams that are just masquerading as Raptors fans and trying to cause confusion and bullshit in the middle of our spaces too. So
from my perspective, criticism is all right as long as it's constructive.
Yeah.
If it's going past that, then it's not criticism anymore.
And listen, this is not constructive criticism. Fire the coach. That's not constructive criticism.
It's criticism that doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make any sense to be helpful to our team. If you actually think about it, a coaching carousel is not good. If he has got the locker room still, he's not the players aren't turned against him. They're listening to him. If he's got the management still behind him, you know, there's no problem here. If it's just some dumb knucklehead fans, it's just like, I don't like losing so much, I blame Darko. Well, you don't understand a rebuild, and you don't understand how it fucking takes time to do it, and how when you fire your coach and you start with a new one, you have to start all over again. And will you have the fucking patience to fucking rebuild, do it again?
Not just rebuild, but just building in general. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a lack of understanding when it comes to
I mean, I get it. I get it. You're frustrated with losing. Well, if you don't like losing, you know what? Just turn it off. And then if you're taking personal connections to whether the Raptors win or lose in your own life, get over yourself and start separating your shit, because you shouldn't be depressed all week just because the Raptors lost 4 games in a row. You can have a separate life where you find your own feelings separate of whether the basketball team's winning or not. Seriously. But
let's go on to this what Battle did last night.
Sure,
I'm gonna say it this right, and I typed it in the comment section.
Sure.
He's a very humble guy. Yeah. Very professional guy.
He's very smart.
Right. He's not trying to make waves and, you know, like, oh, give me this, give me that. No. He is just putting in the work.
Yeah.
So we're seeing the results of him putting in the work, but he's also doing it from the foundation, not from the top down, which is what I was trying to explain about Grady before. Grady, I believe he is a good shooter. However, he's trying the hardest thing in shooting, which is movement shooting. Yeah. Like I don't think him hooking up with He's a coach for the Lakers right now. What's his name?
Handy.
Huh?
Handy.
I'm forgetting his name. You
or
know, the
lethal
coach of the
shooter.
Lakers.
Handy.
Yeah,
Phil Handy or lethal
no,
shooter.
no. The coach of the Lakers. You know
JJ Redick.
Yeah, JJ Redick. That stuff is too much. I think that was
What?
wrong.
What was Grady doing with JJ Redick? He ain't got nothing to do with JJ Redick.
The second year, he went to spend the off season with JJ Redick. So
I don't remember that. That didn't happen.
But that to me was not the type of mentorship he needed. Like that's to me,
that didn't happen, Neil.
It happened. He spent some time with JJ Redick. They actually
was before JJ was the coach of the Lakers.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, I was about to say it better have been before he was the coach.
Right.
Anyway, I get what you're saying. I agree. It would be a waste of time. Although, I mean, I understand why he may go and like work out with JJ Redick because JJ Redick was a certain style of player when he played in the NBA.
That matches
not
his.
Really though. They're not really the same player, but I mean they both shot threes, but they're not really the same player.
No, they both like the movement shoot. But I would say the most important thing is to get the fundamentals, understand separation, because this is why I think that Grady suffers is getting separation has been more challenging for him. And that's what you look at like there was a move that Battle did last night where he was up in the far right corner and Mobley was on him. And he repositioned like he was going to go under the basket, and then when Mobley
went by him, he stepped to his side and he shot it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he went all the way back up, and then he went all the way up to the top of the key, and then quickly threw the ball to him, and he shot it. And I'm like, that was perfect separation. Yeah. Perfect textbook. This is what guys have to know: is do the fundamentals and do it right.
All right.
You know what I mean?
I mean, that goes without saying, Neil. I mean, I don't know what you don't think Grady's trying to do the fundamentals. I mean, that's the only thing Carmen Dick tried to work with him.
Not when it comes to separation. I think he's so focused on
movement shooting. All right. I think that the issue is this. I think the issue is this: that Grady Dick was a certain kind of scorer at Kansas for 1 year, and he's a certain kind of college scorer. But in the NBA, he has a harder time operating, and in some ways, the learning curve is the switch to the size and the speed of the NBA. And in some ways, this was my biggest concern with them drafting him, was that some of the shit he could do in college just does not translate to the NBA. And some of it is that, look, if you're gonna be in these situations, Grady, the one thing you need to do, and this is the thing that Jamison's doing, and you're not, is if you're wide fucking open, you need to nail that shot. I don't care if he's got – listen, you can talk about the motion shots. You can talk about people running at him. You can talk about hands in his face. No, I'm talking about when he's plain day, wide ass open, that shot should be like a free throw for him.
Correct.
And that's the thing that's different between him and Battle. And that's why Battle in some ways should get the minutes.
Battle's knowing how to engineer it, though. And that's what I'm saying. That
all right, Neil, I want to start wrapping it up. So start tying up some of the loose ends with what you're trying to say and get to some main points here.
It's a lot similar for Quickly, too. Quickly, we just need him to distribute and shoot the threes.
Yeah.
If he shoots those threes, he's going to open up the floor just like how Battle opened the floor.
Yeah.
Right? So like this trying to win the paint battle, he needs to just relax off of that. His bigger value is opening up the floor. So
who, Battle or IQ?
IQ.
Oh, okay. I thought you said Battle.
IQ is a great shooter. If he focuses more on that, he will gain more success. Yeah. That's what I see.
I don't know. In some ways, I just want IQ to settle down and play a little bit more controlled. In some ways, it's like, look, I get he's a little chaotic and he's a little bit unpredictable, and that's good. But there's got to be controlled chaos.
He's just trying to win
he's chaotic, man. He did some crazy ass dribble where he did a little spin last night. I'm like, what the fuck is he doing out there? Seriously, like there was some people that were like, spin around real quick. I don't know what he's doing. And the other thing that's bugging me is his court awareness isn't as good. Like he's such a quick little guy. He should be going and scooping up loose balls everywhere. Like Muggsy Bogues was not the biggest player. In fact, he was the smallest player in the NBA's history. Why did Muggsy Bogues stay in the league? Because he was like a bottom feeder. He was going around just grabbing every single ball that was loose on the court at any point. He would just scramble and go get it. That's the one thing that annoys me about it quickly. He's so quick. But there's loose balls loose next to him. He stands there and just looks at it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's the
He was
biggest problem with
scrambling
these
last
guys. And
night.
Darko said it in the interview in the last day or so. It's too much spectating and not enough doing.
Well, I
Like
agree.
guys are
That was
standing
from the
around
other
watching
game.
action happen. And that was the biggest problem with during this 4-game losing streak was there's a lot of standing around instead of making things happen. You're watching the other team go and make things happen.
Yeah.
Not going to get the loose balls, not going to get the rebounds, and losing a lot of that battle because you're just lazy. You're just standing there.
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to let the game just go on around you, and you're not going to be the game yourself, Raptors.
Right.
That's a big problem. And that's the one area where I'd like to see IQ take more initiative and energy into is getting after it because you're a quick little guy, and you could collect a lot more loose balls and things for us in certain ways, Emmanuel, and that could be very helpful. That could be very helpful. Neil, one last point, and we're going to move on with the show because I don't want to go too crazy.
The Raptors just need to keep on grinding.
Yeah.
That's how they're going to get their wins is keep on grinding. Yep. We got to, as I said earlier, lower the temperature on them because they need to build these
we don't have to put them under a microscope like everybody else is doing. There's no reason to do that. Allow them the ability to grow as a team over the course of the season, and there's going to be failures. There's going to be successes. And I look at it, every single one of the 82 games is a new story to write. And when we go there and we get to the situation where we're in the arena that day and we're playing that team, we focus on what's in front of us and we just take care of business, do our best, and hopefully we get W's. That's it right there.
Exactly.
That's it right there. So.
Last prediction.
Sure.
Blue Jays take it home tonight.
All right. That's what I want to hear. Let's go, Blue Jays.
They could have took it home last night if those guys didn't run, try to steal base.
Yeah.
Then there would have been one more opportunity. So it was just an error on their part. Is why they didn't win last night.
I didn't watch the game, so I don't know. Know.
It was the last play they got a double out. So it should have been a single out, and they would have had another chance because they could have won the game last night.
I see. All right. Well, here's hoping they do tonight. Neil, thanks for the call, man.
No errors.
Let's go Raptors. Let's go Blue Jays tonight. And I like your message of saying, let's chill out, Fan Nation, and just allow the team to do what they're going to do. And analyzing everything is just not always necessary. Let's just put it that way. All right, Neil. I hope you have a great Saturday. That's Blackhawk, man. Raptor Freak, Blackhawk. Thank you for supporting the channel. And thanks for the call today, man.
Peace.
All right. Peace out. Let's go. That's right. I appreciate Neil calling in today and giving us his 2 cents. I think that some of the stuff he's talking about with the differences with Grady and Jamison are very valid. And they are things that we're going to have to look at. That's right. Let's see. Wayne's here. Good to see Wayne Strainer. Morning, Raptor Freaks. We beat an undermanned team, which was necessary. All we need is a mini streak, which is accomplished by Darko adjusting to game conditions and not being tied to hierarchy too much. Yeah, this is a good way to describe it. A lot of the success last night was being flexible and picking people to play at the right times with how the game was going. And I don't know if the Raptors coaching staff in the past recently were having very rigid minutes totals that they were trying to hit on targets on everybody. But this should be flexible. This shouldn't be we're going in the game and this person's getting 30, this person's getting 25, this person's getting 35, this person's getting 5, this person's getting 10. No, we can't do that. In some ways, to play the piano of being the coach, you got to know the keys to play at the timing and the rhythm of what's going on in the game. And I think the Jamison Battle key was played very well last night and very, very smart. In some ways, there could have been an alternate universe where Jamison didn't even get in the game. It was a DMP, and we played Grady Dick in the second half instead. And that is important right there, what we did right there. That was important. Wayne, thanks for coming in. Yeah, good thing we beat an undermanned team. Seriously. Shaq Lindsay saying giving more minutes to Battle will hurt Dick and his development. Dick needs to get in the rhythm, which means taking a lot of shots. Battle is the opposite. Bobby has to ask himself, what's better for the team? Well, I mean, potent, low usage shooter like Battle is better for the team. In some ways, he's cheaper. In some ways, this does make it seem like Grady's a good trade piece if somebody else is interested in, trading for him. But let's not give up on Grady. Let's allow him the ability to show some things, and he may get a game just like Jamison had last night in the next month or so, where Grady has a perfect shooting night, and he's absolutely the hero and the winner for our game, just like Jamison did last night. I mean, that's part of the wisdom that Grady has right now is like, look, I'm not upset with Jamison doing this. I'm proud and happy of him. I want to do this to myself, and I will get my chance to do myself also. I think that in some ways, Shaq Lindsay, saying that there's one or the other is not totally true. We have done battle dick formation very often in games, and I like it because it's a really good floor spacer to have both of them on the court together. And I think that in some ways, I could actually rationalize that Battle would help Dick shoot better if he's on the court playing with him, because he's going to have gravity come towards him, and maybe Grady's getting more open because Jamison's out there with him. So I think that they could actually coexist and be very well. And once again, abundance mindset would tell me there's no, it's not that Jamison's taken away from Grady. There's enough for all. We just got to figure it out. We got to figure it out. Yeah. I would say long term, if we really have to choose right now, I'd like to invest in Battle. And if there's trade options for Grady at some point, well, if we have to, we have to. Because in some ways I can see Battle being already more solid pro right now. He has a more NBA body. And in some ways he's being what that role is, what we want more than ever. And Grady, I mean, in some ways I feel bad. I mean, the guy showed up like looking like a 16-year-old kid, maybe came to the league way too early. Maybe he should have stayed at Kansas for 2 more years, and maybe it would be different. But in some ways we did what we did. We've got him in the fold. If he doesn't work out, and well, if we trade him, we trade him. So I look at it that way. Smooth saying this, that game was crazy last night. The Blue Jays runners on second and third, bottom of the ninth, and nobody out. It's too bad. In some ways it didn't work out, but well, they got to make sure it happens tonight. That's right. Kareem Thomas is saying, I never watched the game. Is it safe to say that if I wasn't for Battle, we wouldn't have lost? We would have lost? Yeah, I think that we might have lost if Battle hadn't done what he did. Although there were some signs that Brandon was picking up in clutch at the end of the game to carry us to the victory too. But it really does help that Battle was like 6 for 6 from 3, and he scored 18 points for us really fast in the third and fourth quarter, and then another 2 with a dunk. So, I mean, I think he was pretty essential. We might have been able to win this game without his contribution, but it may have been tougher. It may have been a lot tougher. It might have been closer game. Yeah. Yeah. All right. We got some new person in, and they're coming in with a strike right off the bat. Trade RJ. That's Yuffle 413. Yeah, you get a strike for that. 3 strikes, you're out. And that means I ban you from the channel, just so you know. Yeah, Shaq Lindsay saying trade RJ. What the fuck? Stop trolling. RJ is a keeper. That's right. RJ is a hometown hero. We love him. And I'm always suspicious of anybody who says trade RJ. They're obviously not from Toronto. They're probably a fan of the Knicks, is what I'm saying. Neil's saying this. Battle is humble, does his work, and makes no gripes about it. This is why I said Grady should back off the movement shooting and master getting separation. Yeah, this is kind of what we were just talking about. I think it's necessary for Grady to be a good movement shooter, though. And in some ways, if he gets better and better at it, well, maybe it'll work out in the long run. I don't know. In some ways, Grady is the kind of player that's going to have to find his shots in different ways. He had it real easy, like Colin right now. When they're leaving him wide open, you get wide open threes in your rookie year. But when they find out about you in the scouting report, they cover you up real nice. And that's what's happened with Grady. Grady's had different peaks in his career because he wasn't getting as much attention. And the defenses are scheming for him different every year. He comes back each year in the league. So that's part of it, is like a lot of the, Jamison should be getting all kinds of crazy scouts now too. He should have been already. But Grady, in some ways, he's covered up way tighter than ever before, because they know getting Grady going is a big weapon for us. And other teams are keying on him and trying to freeze him out and not even let him get the ball sometimes. So that's part of it right there. That's part of it right there. Raptors Champs is saying anyone who says trade RJ has no vision. They probably don't watch any games. A bunch of parrots. They say this partly because in some ways they hate that we have him. They absolutely hate the joyous relationship of RJ Barrett being a Toronto Raptor, whether it's RJ's so happy, so much more happy than he was as a Knick, whether they're unhappy that Raptors fans get to enjoy something 30 years into the existence of our team where we have a hometown hero on our team, because that's special. The Leafs can have all kinds of hometown heroes on their hockey team. Knicks can have all kinds of hometown heroes like Jalen Brunson on their team. But God forbid the Raptors have a kid from Toronto on their Toronto team. And that's the haters hating on this. And that's what I take that troll that just made that message. That's what I read your energy as, bro. Seriously. because this kid wants to play for us. He's working out. He's excelling. There's nothing wrong with this. There's no reason to trade him. And this is just a hater that brings this shit up. That's exactly what it is right there. It's exactly what it is, Raptors champs. Blackhawks saying this: Bi, Scotty, and RJ are foundational to our office. Everyone else needs to play their role for the team to be successful. IQ, distribute, and shoot. Don't worry about the paint. Yeah, that's kind of what you were just saying on the phone. I agree with that. Alan Tam, Bam's son, is here. The Jays will win Game 7. It's like a plot story. Mad Max will be our savior at 41 years old, and he'll pitch 5 to 6 innings, and the Jays will win the game and the championships. I love that prediction. I hope you're right. Bam, son. All right. Shaq Lindsay saying, I want Oshai, Dick, and Jacoby to play like Tyson. Tyson comes off the bench for Cleveland, but his production is a plus. That guy's a fighter. That guy gets after it. I have some respect for that. In some ways, he's annoying. In some ways, this dude's annoying. Look at his intensity. Look at how he's getting after. I agree with this, Shaq Lindsay. I agree with this. Raptors champ saying CMB did enough just to keep his confidence going, which is all you need from your rookies. Yeah, it's a learning curve. The tape is so useful for him at this point because, he can sit with the assistant coaches and Darko, and they can very much point out, well, at this point, you should have been standing here and you would have stopped this. Or if you had stood here, you would have helped Scotty in this situation with the rebounding. There's a lot of that going on with Murray Boyles right now. And that's the most fruitful stuff that he can get better faster from is basically Coach Wade and Batiste and Delaney and all them kind of going over and saying, look, if you'd done this and been here instead of there, this would have helped us better. And that'll be adjustment changes. It'll work. And, we saw a lot of promise with these changes for Mobo last year. And Shamshay, when he was still on the team, that was a big part of what we were working on with him, too. It's just where you stand, where you're supposed to be at all times, and how you switch with the rotation of the defensive rotations. That stuff is stuff that, rookies and young players have to get used to and get second nature to. And in some ways, when Colin's not thinking about having to worry about all that, he can worry about more important things on the court eventually down the road. But he has to nail that stuff down, that basic stuff down first, because he does hurt us on defense. And part of the reason why our defense has looked bad so far this year is Colin Murray Boyles. As much as he's going to be helping our defense in the future, he doesn't know exactly what he's doing, and he's hurting our defense. And some people are getting biased because of him, just so you know. Yeah. Let's see. Alan's saying Mad Max will retire with win his third championship, just like when Winfield and Molitor won in 92 and 93. Let's go Blue Jays. I love that. A true Canadian, Alan Tam, Bam son. A true Canadian. That's right. I'm going to give you a dunk, Alan, for your positivity. I love your story of what you're saying is going to happen tonight. I hope it happens exactly as you're saying. Alan Tam, you got the Vince Carter 15, my guy. The Vince Carter 15 on the dunk charts. That's right. The greatest dunker of all time in NBA history, Vince Carter, is your number. That's right. Good game. Got prayers. Good to see you, G. Neil saying, put CMB back in the bench lineup with Sandro, and he will develop fine. Mobo should be starting center while Jakob is out. Bench needs to put up 30 to 40 every night. That's an interesting idea. I mean, Jonathan's been fine in the starting lineup over the last year. And in some ways, that does kind of give more of a punch to the bench. And Jonathan can really be that focus of rebounding and defense right at the start of the game. I'm not against this. Darko started Jonathan Mobo a lot in the last year. And he's a very capable starter who can give us some of the stuff we need without worrying about the other stuff. And in some ways, you want role players. Our starting talent is so good, all 5 of them. But in some ways, it's good to have a role player in your starting lineup that doesn't have to score or do anything. And maybe they're more focused on some of the weaknesses from your starting lineup that you need, like defense and rebounding. And so I'm not totally against this, although I do like Sandro starting too. Let's see. Fiercely saying, trade who? Nah, we ain't doing that. RJ's a national treasure. That's right. He's a real one. He plays with that maple leaf in his heart. And that's what matters. And people that don't like Canada or Toronto, they don't like RJ because he's like that. And then in some ways, it's like they disregard him in the Met press up here and down there. And Toronto and Canada media, you could be celebrating RJ and putting this more on blast. But in some ways, y'all don't, because it's a hockey nation. And in some ways, the popularity of the Raptors is a threat to the NHL. And they don't want to market RJ too much as a hometown hero, because they don't want people to get more into basketball up here. Maybe some of the people that want us to trade RJ are hockey fans, and they're not basketball fans first, and they are worried about the place of the NHL in Canada in sports. That could be part of the people too, because the U.S. media, I know they ain't gonna give RJ any shine or talk about him because he's a Canadian on the Canadian team, and they ignore the Canadian team down there. They'll especially ignore a Canadian on a Canadian team. Well, up here we ignore them too with our media to an extent because it's a hockey-centric sports media up here. So yeah, they should be putting RJ way more on blast, all over the place. Honestly, Isaac Campbell's saying we better get the bench going, being short forwards. Efforts like battles are critical. Next battle up mentality. They came out with the Roddenberry access of defensive and offensive efficiency after the first week of the season. Come out. The graphic I'm talking about. It's the one that has the access, and they take all 30 of the teams and they place them on there for where they are with their stats. Well, it's interesting. The Raptors' first appearance in this year, they're above the offensive efficiency line. And they weren't above that line at all in the last 2 years. So once again, we're kind of piggybacking off what we were talking about yesterday. The Raptors are a better offensive team this year, but they've lost their defensive identity to an extent already this year. But maybe it's because they're getting used to the more offensively powerful lineup we have, and the defense has been a second thought. But maybe we need to come back around and recommit to that defense. And because we have a more potent offense where we hopefully won't struggle and have droughts where we can't score like we have at times, we get this all figured out. Well, we get that defensive commitment back, and we have the better offensive weapons with Brandon here. Then look, there's a lot of promise in what we're building. It's just the Raptors have to recommit themselves to being the defensive team that they were in the second half of the season last year. And if they have the easier time scoring, and sometimes I say, don't worry about scoring so much. You guys can score. Scotty can score. RJ can score. Brandon can score. Worry about recommitting your energy to the defensive side, and all the offensive stuff will work out. You guys have the firepower. You guys have some of the best offensive stats in the NBA in some ways. So I'm really feeling like this is a bright spot. And this is just a weird lopsided thing where this year we've been very much more offensively gifted, but our defense has disappeared for a second, but we can go get it back. And if we have them both together, when we start appearing on that Roddenberry's access of offensive and defensive efficiency, we should be starting going in the good quadrants, the quadrant of wow. And that's the one we want to get to. Right now, we're in the offensive quadrant with the defensive part is not right. We got to get it back up over that line. And we will. We will. I believe it. They're going to get this right. That's right. Yeah. Shaq Lindsay's saying too many trolls on this channel. Yuffle. Yeah. In some ways, we're going to figure this out. We'll figure it out. Raptors champ. I don't mind them coming in here. It depends on how abrasive they are. If they come right at me, well, I will cuss them out. I'll cut a promo on them just like in wrestling. You see me go Jim Cornette all of a sudden. But, that's part of the entertainment. We used to let people, non-subscribers, chat on this channel all the time, but it's just getting too long. So in some ways, I had to make it, they have to subscribe at least to talk. And, well, it depends on how much they say going in the wrong way. And, well, they can run themselves right out of here because I'm not trying to get every subscription in the world. And if they aren't conducive to the attitudes of kind of what we're trying to do here on the Raptor Freak channel, yeah, they will be shown the door. But there's only one guy with a strike so far, and it's mild stuff. It's mild stuff. Raptors champ saying Morant will never fit our culture. Yeah. Yeah, he's just going to be a problem. And in some ways, we don't need other people's headaches. There's different players that are very good that I would never, ever want to see play for the Raptors. Never, ever want to see. And people were saying, we need to get Bradley Beal for a while. I was like, fuck that. We don't need that sorry Florida Gator piece of shit. He's such a shitty player. He's so overrated, and especially at this age in his career. Some people want to get Bradley Beal like 4 years ago, and I was saying, no, we don't need Bradley Beal up here. He's a loser, and I don't want him ever on the Raptors. There's just a list of guys. I'm like, fuck that person. I never want them to be on the Raptors. Ben Simmons. There's another one. There's another one. Let's keep going. Some people were on the list, but they came off of it, and I said, yeah, I'd bring them up here. Kyrie Irving is one of them. Kyrie Irving used to be on my list. No, I never want him up here, but I've changed my mind. I would actually get a Kyrie at this point. All right, let's keep going. Let's see. When we win games, we don't focus on negative plays. We exalt the positive and the contributors to winning. That's what I'm saying. Don't rain on our parades, Debbie Downers. Let us enjoy a W. We have not had a W since the first game of the season, and Raptors fans deserve to enjoy and celebrate. If there's these people coming into our places and saying, why are you so happy? Why are you so fuck you? You fucking go down the street to the 10-year-old's birthday party and tell them, why are you so happy? We got a chocolate cake. We're celebrating little Jimmy's birthday. You shouldn't be so happy. He's an ugly kid. He's a stupid kid too. What the fuck? You're fucking up our party. We're having a birthday party for a 10-year-old and you're coming down. Yeah, just let them celebrate. Seriously, you fucking pieces of shit that won't let the Raptors fans enjoy a victory in an in-season tournament game against a short-handed Cleveland Cavaliers team. I can keep this all straight and factual, but it still don't mean we can't celebrate and be happy. Like I said, this now means we may have a good chance to win Group A in the Emirates Cup bullshit. Seriously, because Cleveland was the toughest team in our group. And now we beat them on their home court in Group A action. And it don't matter who showed up. We got the W. And we are going forward in the Group A. Seriously, the ESPN already thinks that they think that Cleveland's going to just win Group A, and they've already penciled them in. In fact, they didn't even mention that we beat them last night in their article about the first night of Emirates Cup action. It's kind of crazy that they didn't even write the words Toronto Raptors. They just said Cleveland lost their first game, but they should still win Group A, is what they said. In their synopsis. I'm like, what the fuck is that, man? Seriously, we beat them. If we beat all the rest of our group, we're going to Vegas, motherfucker. That's what I say, Kevin Pelton, you piece of shit. Yeah, that's what I say right there. That's right. All right, let's see. Let's keep going. Shaq Lindsay saying, I would love to see IQ play more with the bench and Shed with the starters. IQ is more of a spark plug off the bench than a pure point guard. Watching him struggle to balance the two is hurting the team. Plus, BI is taking away some of his role. You know, this is very outside the box thinking by Shaq Lindsay, but I think it's a good idea. Like my first impression of what he just said, it kind of makes sense because in some ways IQ could be a scoring punch off the bench. I think what Shaq Lindsay is saying is dead on. And in some ways, Shed could be a more typical point guard and setting up some of our guys in the starters and would help with bench scoring with IQ off the bench. I don't know if they do this. I don't know if they'd even think about doing this. But if they start equalizing the minutes for Jamal and Emmanuel more and more, I'm not going to be upset about that. I'm not going to be upset about that. If these two guys are playing about 25 minutes each, like they did last night, I'm not going to be upset about that because in some ways, Shed's minutes are quality minutes, and I would love to extend them more. And I think that there's something to what Shaq Lindsay's saying about the groupings of IQ with bench players and Shed with starters. There's something about him saying that. I'm going to give him a dunk. Because in some ways, this is the kind of creativity and this is the kind of thinking that I like to hear. Because in some ways, as much as it's like a detriment to IQ, maybe it lights a fire under his ass. And he changes how he's playing a bit because of it. 99 for Shaq Lindsay. You got the Wayne Gretzky guy. You got the Wayne Gretzky. That's right. Let's see. Milbester is here. Of course, he fucking shows up on a day after the Blue Jays lost. This is our friend, the Knicks freak, Yankees freak, New York guy, Milbester. Let's see what he's saying this morning. Good morning, Lex. Here we go. My 3 MLB comments. All right, thank you. And I'm glad you remember this rule, and I have no problem with you doing this if there's just 3. Yamamoto dominated the Jays. Second time, I know, in the last week. Crazy 9th inning, double play. Kike to Rojas to end the game and force Game 7. Yeah, I don't know what that means because I don't know any of the players. I have no knowledge of MLB. All of the data in my head is stored for NBA. So, yeah, I don't know those names. Chloe Sandis, morning, Lex, and everyone. Been arguing with people on Reddit, poo-pooing the win last night. See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Chloe's in there in the comments fighting with people who are poo-pooing our win last night. Let's see, because it's against the Cavs B team. I don't even think it was their B team. I call it their C team. Seriously. I mean, what is with the big expectations when we have a losing streak? These are people that nothing will ever be good for them. And in some ways, they're miserable fucks in their own lives. Half the time when I hear people talk about the Raptors, when they tell me how they see it, if they have a negative slant or a positive slant, it tells me whether they're a cynic or an optimist. It tells me if they're a glasses half full or glasses half empty person. And in some ways, their opinions about the Raptors don't tell me more about the Raptors. They tell me more about that individual and who they are and how their brain works. Seriously, these are miserable people that can't just enjoy the game last night. If they are with us and they're just trying to be sneaky and there are other people masquerading as Raptors fans and just trying to cause issues, that's different. But if they're actual Raptors fans and they have this energy after a win last night, you people have sad lives. You need to go and fucking find some joy in your life. Maybe you drink too much and you're hungover and you're alcoholic and you're absolutely miserable in your life. And that's probably more true than your opinions on the Raptors. Yeah, I started to believe this, Kaloy, that in some ways, the way you talk about the Raptors is a window into your mind for me on whether you're a cynic or an optimist and whether you're a miserable and depressed, sad motherfucker. I can enjoy this. I'm a happy person. I love the Raptors and I love when they win. And I'm not poo-pooing this shit like idiots on Reddit. Thank you, Kaloy, for being a keyboard warrior, even though you don't need to do this. Because in some ways, these people are past help unless they go get better help or call somebody or get a shrink or something like that. These people are past help. Milbester's saying this for a second comment. Tonight is game 7 and the final MLB game ever. What? With the old balls and strikes rules. Interesting. Okay, I thought it was like, what? They're ending the MLB? What? ABS challenge system for 2026 season. WBC in March. Jay's bad base running. Barger got himself into double play. Yeah, this stuff goes over my head. I'm not the baseball freak. I don't know Blue Jays like I know Raptors. And in some ways, this is really, really fine minutia of basketball talk that I have no idea. I have no idea who Barger is. And I don't even know what your challenge system is, ABS. I don't know any of this shit. Is this the placement system? Is this like the umps aren't going to look for the strikes and balls? The machine is going to record it now? That's kind of cool, actually. Shaq Lindsay saying this. I don't want to hear about Common being the better pick because the Suns are barely playing him. Okay, shot blocking, but very poor on switches. He's slow, and his offense needs a lot of work. And, he's a project. And we couldn't afford to have a project. That's just what it was in some ways. I think Colin is going to pay off more and more as time goes on. And nobody's going to be worried about Common versus Colin in years to come. Watch. Like I said, there's a very high bustability factor for Malawach. He has a higher chance of busting out of this league than Murray Boyles. And we'll just have to see how long his career is and whether he sticks around. We'll just have to see. Yeah, let's see. Raptors Champs is saying this. Raptors not having Yak is like not having 5 guys. So let's say we're even. I like what he's saying here. We got to win, and that's why we play. Yeah, I mean, that's not totally true, but he is probably one of the most essential players for our team. But yeah, Jared Allen's pretty important for the other side too. And thank God he didn't play last night. Let's just say that. That could have changed things immediately right there. If Allen had played, that outcome last night may have been different. I'm not dumb enough not to realize that. Seriously, I'm not that pie in the sky, but the reality is that the game happened the way it did, and the Raptors got a W, and that's what matters. That's right. Kareem's saying, I'm not for trades, but we might be able to maneuver quickly in a first rounder for Kessler. Promote Shed and fast track Chucky, gives us future center and money from the IQ contract. Maybe save this conversation for a later date. I think it's too early in the season for a trade like this. I don't even know if they're allowed to do trades right now because it's not a trading part of the year. It's too early in the season. But, maybe we could see Bobby do a trade before Christmas. Who knows? We'll just have to see. We'll have to see. I mean, I like the idea of getting Kessler in a Raptors jersey. I really do. I really, really do. I think that it would help us in our front line a lot. And it could be a very big move for us. I don't know. The conversation may be now, but the decisions are later. I think that. G's saying this. Hang on. It jumped ahead. I want to make sure I don't miss any of my spots right here. The ball barely got stuck under was the MVP last night for the Dodgers. Oh, the ball got stuck under. Yeah, that's what somebody was saying, that a ball got stuck underneath, and that's a big pivotal part of why the Blue Jays lost. Interesting. It was our own arena. Yikes. Tyler's saying this. What? Ja had Memphis finish in the top 2 in the West back-to-back years. He's light years better than IQ. He's a way better point guard. I don't give a shit. It's not even about who's a better player. It's about who's a better fit and who's not a knucklehead. I'll say this, Tyler, and I'll stand on this. I'm not changing my opinion, and that's just how it is. I say no go on Morant, and I'll bet you Bobby Webster's the same way. Seriously, he don't need this headache. It's like we don't need a talent infuse our team at this point. We've got a lot of talent already. In fact, we may have too much talent to a degree. So having John Morant here would just cloud the situation, and especially for a knucklehead that doesn't deserve it. You know, those appearances were what? How many years ago? And how have they built off them since? So yeah, don't give me this shit. He's not a successful player. He had his opportunities to come up in the NBA, but he threw his opportunities away by being a dumbass with legal trouble. So no, we don't need him here. In some ways, this is stupid. This is a dumb conversation. And in some ways, I'm not even like gonna justify talking about it anymore. Seriously. Yeah, disrespecting Ja. Who cares? He disrespects himself with the way he carries himself and lives his damn life. If he was a real listen, this is a thing. You can be one of two things, Ja Morant. You want to be a gangbanger? Go fucking be a gangbanger. You can't be a gangbanger and an NBA player. Seriously. And that's where you fucked up. You're trying to play wannabe gangbanging life. You ain't like that, motherfucker. Seriously. And I know I'm not, and I'm not one to say it, but I'm going to say this. You play acting like you're a little gangbanging motherfucker has ruined your life, honestly. You didn't need to do this. It's so stupid. In some ways, I hate him because he's a bad role model for kids. Because what the fuck? You have all this talent and success. You could be a good role model for children, but instead you're playing with guns and acting out at your ass and being stupid like that. No, I don't want people like that around my team. No. We have standards up here. And I don't give a shit how talented they are. And like I said earlier, Tyler, this NBA is getting more and more competitive. It's getting taller. And there's so many good basketball players out there. A knucklehead like John Morant will get filtered out and won't even make the league at some point. Because people understand these are huge contracts, $30 million contracts, $50 million contracts. And they're wasting the damn time on people like Ben Simmons, Zion Williamson, Joel Embiid, and John Morant. At some point, NBA teams are going to be like, fuck these knuckleheads. We are not doing this anymore. We're going to be like Bobby Webster in Toronto. We're FBI profilers. And we're going to fucking find out everything about these idiots, especially because of sports betting. They're going to have to know who's doing this shit. No more Jonte Porters. And seriously, knuckleheads could be the most talented guys in the world. They ain't going to get in the league at a certain point because there's going to be so many good players from all around the world that it's going to be really competitive to get in this league. And not only will you have to be a good player, you'll have to be a good person. And if you're not a good person, you're not even getting in the door. Do you know how many good players played at Rucker Park over the last 50 years and never even sniffed the NBA? But they didn't get there because they didn't get the opportunity. And if they had gotten the opportunity, they would have ran with it. If they'd had that chance, just like John Morant did, they wouldn't have fumbled it like John Morant did. Seriously, there's been so many good players in the United States in the history of the NBA that never even got in the league. They got to just be in college, and they just have, my glory days when I was at McNeese State, and I did this and this, but I never made the big show. I wish I had. There's so many motherfuckers that don't make it. And people like John Morant are going to be finding themselves not making the league because the NBA will class them and say, look, this guy's a knucklehead. He's not, we don't even want to waste our time coming in here. Seriously, at some point, talent's not going to matter because character is going to matter more because this is like hundreds of millions of dollars invested in now. So seriously, you go ahead and say, John Morant, what are you talking about? He's so good. No, he's not because he's not there for his team. He's not a good teammate and he's fucked up his career completely. He should be way better at this point in his career. Way more accolades, way more stats accumulated. But he's meanwhile play acting and cosplaying like he's a gangbanger. That motherfucker didn't even have that life. And I don't even know why he wants to dramatize it or glamorize it or do that shit in his own life. That's so unnecessary. And all he did was shoot himself in the foot, literally. He could have shot himself in the foot with his dumbass way he's handling a gun in that car and the stupid ass ways he's been. So no, fuck this. I don't give a shit about his talent. He's a knucklehead. And someday the knuckleheads will not make this league because young men like our Wemby are coming, 7'5" men that are absolutely mindful and good young men that are absolutely good character. That's what you want on a team. And this matters, seriously. And it's going to matter more and more. There ain't going to be no more leagues of Roy Tarpley's and John Morant's. No, you fumble your chance, you're out. And it's cutthroat. And we ain't even going to waste any time on this shit. Why do we waste so much time on Ben Simmons? Because they hyped him up and said he was this and that. And we believe this bullshit. That's all you are right now to me, Tyler. You're hyping up a knucklehead that has not proven jack shit in the NBA. And you can say I'm disrespecting him? No, he disrespected himself when he cosplayed being a gangster. And that's just the damn truth. And if he comes here tomorrow and he kills my team, I don't give a shit. We're going to try and beat his ass. He'd never be a Raptor. Honestly, that's how I feel about it. Milbuster's saying, been a great season for both Jays and Dodgers. What a postseason and a great World Series. May the best team win. I'm going to miss baseball after season ends tonight, but next season will be even better. There you go. There's his third comment. He's wishing everybody well. And yeah, may the best team win. And seriously, win or lose tonight, Blue Jays, what a dream season. You guys did fantastic. Let's bring this home and just win it. That's what I'm saying right now. Finish the assignment and get it done. That's right. Tyler's saying if IQ was in the West, they'd be bottom every year. What are you talking about? I don't even know what you're talking about, man. In some ways, look, Emmanuel's down right now. I'm not going to kick him totally when he's down. Seriously. In some ways, what I say to Emmanuel is I want you to do better and be successful as a Raptor. Seriously. And I'm not even wasting my time with Morant. Seriously. He's a waste of time. That's just the damn truth. Trevor's saying this. We have a very talented group of players. We're going to beat lots of teams. Everyone's going to get better one day at a time. Nothing happens overnight. Yeah, I agree with all that. And I'm totally with all that. Trevor J's got it exactly right. On the journey, it's a journey. It's not an overnight success. It's something that we got to work on, and we'll get there closer and closer. Denver Nuggets took 6 years to build up to their championship. The Raptors took 8 years to build up to their championship. So let's be understanding of how these things cook and how they take time. And honestly, the Raptors are in a good place, and we've got a lot of good things going for us right now. We really do. Tyler's saying this. I understand you don't like his off-court antics. I concur. Ja won Rookie of the Year and has been an all-star. We praise Scotty for those same accolades. Yeah, those are great. The accolades are great. It's the off-court shit. And not, like I said, once again, I look at the way he plays. It's reckless, and he gets hurt a lot just because of the way he plays. It's the same with Joel. Joel falls all over the place, and he hurts himself just because he flops so much. Well, John Morant likes to fly through the air and get hit out of the air. He's going to land on his arm. He's going to hurt his arm. He's going to be out for 6 months. So it's like, come on, man. We can look at the patterns here. Once again, the thing for me is, does he show up? Is he healthy? Is he there? Because in some ways, his fool's gold if he's on the DL or he's in legal trouble or he's just not available. Seriously. So, yeah, we can't count on him. Why would we want him here? The Grizzlies have not been able to count on him. And accolades, who gives a shit about accolades? They're just awards. Seriously. Smooth saying this. No matter who was playing for the Cavs last night, a win was needed. Happy for that. That's right. We got the assignment done. A W came. We've got our second win of the year. And it's an in-season tournament victory on the road to boot. And in some ways, that's one thing I wish these negative ninnies around Raptors land would start talking about. Hey, we have a good chance to win Group A and be in the in-season tournament in Las Vegas. That's what these motherfuckers should be talking about instead of talking, oh, they shouldn't have won. They should have won already because they didn't have anybody. Blah, blah, blah. All their bullshit. Yeah. Let's see. James is saying this. If we were to trade quickly, Bull is our next best. The Bulls are our best trade partner. They have Pat Williams, Kevin Huerter, Jalen Smith, Vucevic, Trey Jones. Some combination of these players are best value, like the Rudy trade. All right, let me construct something with what James is saying here. I would say if we traded this trade, I want Jalen Smith. I don't care about any of the other ones. I think Jalen Smith is the best one. Vucevic is not going to be in this deal. The Bulls aren't going to move Vucevic. They really don't want to. He asked for a trade. Nikola does not want to play for the Bulls, but they won't move him. They need him as a center, and they want to keep him around. So they talked him into sticking around, but they're not going to trade Vucevic. He won't be in that deal. Pat Williams could be in it. Patrick Williams, Florida State. But Jalen Smith's the most attractive player that you got right there. He's the most attractive player because he's kind of a big, and that's really what we're looking for is we need more solid bigs up front because that's our weakness. Smith saying this. I keep telling myself no matter what happens tonight, this was the most unexpected Blue Jays season ever. I love these guys, man. That's good perspective. That's good perspective, but, believe you can, and they will. And hopefully, Blue Jays, you just get this done tonight. Seriously. Get this done. That's right. Slug Deezy's here. Good to see Slug Deezy, the classic card master. With the emergence of Dylan Harper in San Antonio, that could make De'Aaron Fox available. Just saying. You're saying, Dylan Harper. Yeah, you spelled his name the other way. I was like, Dylan Harper? Who's that? That's like never mind. Anyway, let's see. De'Aaron Fox. Yeah, I agree with this. He is expendable, but I don't know if I would necessarily want Fox here. I don't think we have a need for a point guard, guys. I think we have a need for a center. And that's really the only position we really need right now. In some ways, our point guard is good right now, even with Quickly. Shed, Quickly, Hepburn. That's a nice 3-point guard hierarchy on our team right now. So I don't know. I don't know if we. I kind of not a big De'Aaron Fox fan. He's not on a list like John Morant where I say no, he can't come here. But in some ways, I feel like Fox is overrated. I feel like he's a very fast player and he's very good at stealing. But his offense, I have some problems with. And I feel like in some ways, the success of the Kings in the last year and the fact that they traded him says something. I don't know. I'm not that interested in De'Aaron Fox, but I do agree that he's expendable in San Antonio, and they probably will trade him. Chris comes saying Dick has time to heat up. He'll be good. Yeah, I agree with that. Kaloy saying, to be honest, we need both Battle and Grady to blossom. You need all the shooters you can get. I agree with this. Kaloy's right. And that's why I was saying it's not a scarcity mindset with this. There's abundance. The Raptors need all the good shooters they can get. And I think having Dick and Battle on the team is good. That's right. Stargate saying this. Good morning, Raptor Freak family. Tyler, the RFF does not want John Morant anywhere near this team. You're in the overwhelming minority with that. Yeah, I mean, we could put a poll up if you guys want to, just to prove it to him, just so you can see. All right, let's start a poll. John Morant, yes or no? I mean, I've made my opinion, and don't just follow me because I say what I say. Tried to make some good points, but I want to see really if this is actually something that is actually ever close in any way. John Morant, yes or no, guys? John Morant, there you go. We'll see what they say. We'll see. All right, let me see. I got the first comment for Stargate, and good to see him checking in. Let's see. Milbester is going. All right, you going with baseball still? May the best team win tonight, Lex. Thoughts on everything in the World Series? I think this is a dream season, like Smooth said, for the Blue Jays. It's a fantastic year. It's unexpected. I'm so proud of them. I'm glad that they got this far. I hope that they can close the deal and get that championship tonight. That'd be awesome. I mean, there's all kinds of perks and happiness if they do. And that's what I want to see. But, we'll just see how it all goes. And I won't be paying attention. I'll be continuing to do my part. I've ignored the Blue Jays this whole time, and it's worked. They've gotten all the way to this point. And, well, I don't want to mess them up in the last night. So I will be ignoring them tonight too. And hopefully they can win with me not paying attention. That would be the best. That's right. Lex, did the Jays win Game 7? Will you go to the World Series parade? You went to 2019 Raptors parade. Yes, I did go to the Raptors 2019 parade. I was right in the middle of it. I loved it. It was awesome. It's one of the best days of my life. I don't know if I'll go to the Blue Jays parade if they win. I might want to. Yeah, you're probably right. I should just go and just enjoy it just for fun. But I don't live anywhere near the city right now. So getting downtown is a little bit more planning involved, and it's not a spur of the moment with my life anymore because I don't live in Toronto anymore. I'm pretty far north of Toronto at this point. But I probably would go down there for something special like that. And yeah, I probably will go down there if they win tonight and go to the championship parade for the Blue Jays. Yeah, I would enjoy that. I think I would. Stargate saying this was a good win last night. I give Darko and the coaches credit. They got the guys running plays down the stretch, and our battleship benefited from us getting the win. Yeah. I like that he really did make a focus to find Brandon. And you know what? The hot hand, don't go away from it. I know in the beginning you were wondering, why did we take Scotty out so early in the game? But it was really because, in the beginning of the game, Scott went all out. He had some really nice offensive stuff in the first couple minutes of the game, and he was trying to set tones for defense and different things right away. And, he goes all out at the beginning of the game. He gets winded faster. And Darko kind of, maybe he tells him, is like, go all out, Scotty. I'll sub you out first, and we'll start the rotation with you being the first sub back in from the starters. And that's kind of been the pattern. Often Scotty Barnes will be the first person taken out of the starting lineup. And it's partly because his burst and his going all out right at the beginning of the game. And we saw that. He was working very hard right from the start of the game. And I appreciate your work, Scott. And it doesn't all have to do with scoring. It has to do with bodying up, positioning, rebounding, and defense. And that stuff is getting noticed. Seriously. Isaac saying, appreciate you, folks. Enjoy your weekend. There you go, Isaac Campbell. We appreciate you, too. Have a great day in Ottawa. My guy, Ottawa. That's right. No, 89% are saying no to John Morant so far. Stargate saying movement was better at the end of the game. If they continue the movement offense, they will win a lot more games. They have the talent and the weapons. I like the natural 2-man games that are happening. Some ways they're like 3-man games. They'll do like a little weird triangle on one side with Brandon, Scotty, and RJ. And there's really a lot to derive from that and getting nice quality, high percentage shots. And I feel like 2-man game is always a good strength for the Raptors, whether it's pick and roll, give and go, or backdoor cuts and different things like that. Raptors can find a lot of good offense that way. I agree. I think that the biggest key in this Stargate was the spacing that Jamison provided by being so dead eye. That really helped things open up with the movement. And that was a big part of it right there. Milbester's saying the Rogers Center renovation killed the Jays last night. The old fence wasn't like that, and the balls hardly ever get stuck underneath, but everyone forgets that Jays renovated the stadium and changed the fence. That would be crazy if that actually is the contribution to why they lost last night. This makes sense, though, because I do remember they did renovate the Rogers Center a lot in the last couple of years, and that change may have fucked them up last night. Wow, that sucks. That sucks. Rogers, I get worried about all these stadium modifications that they do. Like they always change the Air Canada Center too. They're adding new tunnels and new additions. To me, all this shit is just like mafioso money laundering construction. Seriously, they're like, oh, we're going to renovate the Rogers Center and we're going to put in all these new things. I feel like there's some sort of money laundering going on in these big construction projects and organized crime. I really do feel like that's true, and it sucks. And because sometimes I'm like, why are you guys doing this? Why do you spend so much money renovating the buildings all the time? Like, I don't want you to renovate the Air Canada Center, Scotiabank Arena to have no workers there because you just want to have these self-checkout AI stuff. Like, fuck that. We want these people to have jobs still and concessions. Some of the changes they've been making, I hate them. Because they're not the right changes. And maybe they got burned for this. This, according to Milbester. This is really interesting piece of information here. Chris comes saying Keyshawn George for quickly. Nah, man. First of all, once again, this is a really good player. He's a young player on a rookie contract with a team. They highly value him. He's peaking out. He's doing really good. And there's no way the Wizards would trade Canadian Swiss player Keyshawn George to the Raptors right now. So, yeah, this is a non-starter. They won't trade him right now. Milbester's saying, yeah, okay, you're continuing to go with the baseball guy. In some ways, this is a Raptors channel, and the Blue Jays we will talk about slightly, but not much. But yeah, Jays messed up. Springer would have been batting with 2 outs and runners. Yeah, in some ways I can't do this. I can't do this right now. Sorry, man. Let's see. I'm at 2.5 hours, so I want to get done. I'm over 20 minutes over my time. Let's see. Medved Ted saying this. We all did shit we were ashamed of when we were young. Yeah, he was a knucklehead, but he just needs a little guidance and change of scenery. Darko's the best coach for him. Nah, listen, he's not young when he's already in the NBA. Listen, you can't fumble the bag like that. There's too many people that are on the outside looking in, wishing they had the chances that Ja got, and they would be like, fuck, I wouldn't have fumbled like him. No, you can't say that. He was in his 20s. He's an adult. He needs better leadership from his family, obviously. His dad's not a very fucking good dad to be keeping him out of trouble. Yeah, no, this is not an excuse. I made mistakes when I was younger too, yeah. But in some ways, I wasn't in the NBA and I didn't make millions of dollars. So yeah, he's an idiot. In some ways, it's not a non-starter. And in some ways, it's like it's not just him he's fucking with. Sure, you can fuck around and fuck up your life yourself. You're fucking with your teammates' lives. You're fucking with your coaches' lives. You're not just fucking with your own life when you're that kind of knucklehead. And I don't trust him because honestly, he hasn't shown the remorse for his issues and the change. He's still doing the same shit. It's not like he changed as a person. In some ways, he's not getting caught for shit. Maybe he's trying to change, but honestly, I don't think he is. His energy is still the same to a degree. And I don't think he's learned jack shit. Seriously, just look on YouTube. John Morant's playmaking. It's unreal. His level of court vision and process. I don't care. Talent don't mean shit. Talent is everybody's got talent. There's so much talent in this world in basketball. You could get somebody who's talented and they don't do knuckleheaded things. That's what I'm trying to say to y'all is that there's going to be eventually the league is going to be so hard to get into Not only do you have to be good, tall, you got to be a good character because they're not even letting anybody in that's shitty character. Seriously. Seriously. Allen Iverson may not have been able to get into the league of the future because he had a whole thing that happened in a bowling alley and all kinds of other stupid shit around his career with Georgetown. And in some ways, in the future NBA, somebody like Allen may not be getting a chance to get in the NBA. Seriously, because this talent level is just going up. And there's so many good players from around the world. In fact, the players in the U.S. are getting worse, and they're not catching up with the rest of the world. I think that the top 5 U.S. players are nowhere near the top 5 international players right now. And in some ways, it's a sign that the United States is not training basketball players correctly. And John Morant is an example of it. Because in some ways, he's just not getting the discipline and the taking seriously enough as a person outside of the game. And that's bad training. Nah, man, I'm sorry, Ted. I'm sorry, guys. Everybody loves John Morant. We don't in the Raptor Freak channel. And 83% are saying no. That's right. Wayne's saying this. James, who should we draft and then trade for a position we will need in 2030? He's being funny. In some ways, he's like, he's making a joke and saying, yeah, he's like, why are you doing this? Is what Wayne's doing. I'm going to give Wayne a dunk for this. He's kind of being sarcastic here. 147. I could read that sarcasm. Because, I like Wayne when he says this. He's like, why are we so knowledgeable and being the people telling them how to do their jobs? Just be fans. Let's watch the game. That's what he's saying. Kareem's saying this. Fuck Ja. Yo, fuck Ja Morant. Y'all acting fucking moronic. There's so many players I would rather have than Ja Morant, like Kessler from the Jazz. Yeah, that's a good, solid piece that honestly I'd be very happy we traded for. And that guy from North Carolina, Walker, or that guy from Utah, Kessler. That's the same guy, isn't it? Walker Kessler. That's who you're talking about. Milbester's saying teams always spend on renovations because it's cheaper and quicker fix. Plus, City don't have money to spend building new stadium and space isn't available. Rogers Center renovations was good. I mean, a lot of people gave good marks on them that they were fun add-ons and they were really improvements. But that's not improvement if you lose in the game 6 of the World Series because of the improvements. No, it's not. And maybe they needed to figure this out. This is bad. All right, I got the end of the chat. Let me go ahead and start doing stuff that I still need to do. Team stats, real quick. We'll go over this team stats for last night. The Raptors shot 49%. Meanwhile, the Cavs shot 40. And we made 40 shots on 82 shots. 36 and 90 for the Cavs. So that's good. We shot good. Their team really wasn't that good. It really wasn't. And thank God, seriously. We did lose the 3-point shootout 14-13, but we did shoot 43%, which is good. The free throws were okay. 79% of the free throw line. They only missed 5 of them. We did out rebound in the Cavs last night. We should have 48-42. That's a welcome change from the last few games. Assist to turnover ratio for both teams. The Raptors were 27 and 18 with their assist to turnover ratio. Too many turnovers. In fact, Cleveland was somewhat successful at getting us to lose the ball. Meanwhile, they were 24 and 14, which is in some ways a slightly better assist to turnover ratio than us. They got 10 blocks and 10 steals. That's amazing. So they kind of beat us there. Fast break points, only 12 for the Raptors. I feel like sometimes we had good fast break opportunities, but we fudged them. And we didn't absolutely execute. Points in the paint. Darko was talking about this last night in the post game, that he was very happy that we limited their team to 40 points in the paint after getting killed. And that was an emphasis that he had with the players, that we can't allow such points in the paint near the basket like we had been doing against those Texas teams. So there was a rededication to limiting the points in the paint for the Cavs last night, and they were successful. 44-40 in the points in the paint for the two teams. So, yeah, it was a tough game. In some ways, they let the Cavs come back and go on a run and get the lead for a little while there, and it was scary because we had no business losing to that team. We had no business. That's right. Tyler later saying, Lex, IQ is getting paid $32 million a year, and he's playing cheeks. Who cares? He's got time. He's got runway. And in some ways, I get what everybody's critical of him, and I've been critical of him too. But that doesn't mean we need to trade him right now. Once again, this is not trade season. This is the beginning of the season. We have played 6 games, and there's so much more to go. And in some ways, they've said we got to have 20 to 30 games to analyze this team. So you're a little bit like 14 or 24 games too soon. on pulling the cord and saying we got to eject Emmanuel from this team because he's playing Cheeks. I always play Maurice Cheeks because actually he's a pretty good vet from back in the day. Mo Cheeks. Yeah, Emmanuel, you play more like Maurice Cheeks. That'd be awesome. That'd be great. Stargate Stan, Larry Nance Jr. looks really bad, man. Yeah, both him and Lonzo Ball is another example of somebody who's way too overhyped and is absolutely a trash NBA player. Seriously. And he wasted a bunch of people's time in Chicago for a while, stealing money, making them all enticed. I'll be back, guys. I'll be back. But, man, that dude is garbage, man. Him and his brother, they're all garbage. His brother that didn't make it. LaMelo Ball is so overrated and overhyped. I bet y'all love LaMelo, too. I bet you all are big, huge LaMelo Ball fans, just like John Morant. Fuck those talented guys that are just flashy, showy, but they're not winning players. Fuck those guys. I never, ever want LaMelo Ball on my team either because he's flashy. He's not a winning style player. He's never going to win in this league. And we want to win. That's the whole goal of what we're doing in Toronto, right? With the Raptors. We want to win games. I don't want guys who can do fancy dribbles and make young girls swoon. Fuck that. I want winning players like Colin Murray Boyles and Jamal Shed. And I don't need a guy who can fly through the air like Superman or a guy who looks like a llama that can dribble through his legs all crazy. You go join the Harlem Globetrotters, you motherfuckers, because that's what y'all play like. Seriously, this ain't winning basketball. And I want winning basketball on my team. I want to build my team with players that are winning basketball that gets championships. That's right. I'm saying right there. That's right. That's what I'm saying right there. That's right. Larry Nance Jr. is in that league. He's a legacy player. Larry Nance Sr., Larry Nance Jr. Maybe we'll get him as a classic card. That'd be weird, man. Kaloy's saying, hey, last night we saw some two-man action with B.I. and Scotty. Yeah, pause. 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 It looked good, though. It did. Tyler saying, I'm trying to tell him, Medved. People change, man. It doesn't matter. The track record is not good enough. In some ways, he hasn't appeared yet and made things successful since his problems. I don't trust him that he's actually changed. These are all factors right here. In some ways, he's fool's gold. In some ways, it's a red flag that even the Grizzlies are like, we given up on our franchise player because he's just pissed us off for so long and he's just been a mess. Seriously, I don't care how good Darko is and if he could solve him. It's not up to us to try and help John Morant and solve him for his career. Nobody has to do that for him. It's on his own. He has to fucking figure his shit out and get himself right internally for himself in some ways. That's what I say to that. That's right. Yeah. Milbester saying Rogers Center was built in 89. Anyways, yeah. Anyway, I'm just talking about in general, the whole thing. Milbester, I don't want to talk about baseball anymore. Yeah. You think that the best renovation of all the stadiums in the league was the Skydome? That's pretty good. At Tyler, Medved saying this. He's also 26, same age as Luka, Ja, Hallie, and 2 years older than LaMelo, Cade, IQ. Can't even shift their level of playmaking. Mediocrity won't win you titles. Listen, we made the trade with OG to get IQ and RJ. Emmanuel is a young player that's starting. He was hurt last year. It kind of hurt some of his progress. In some ways, I believe in him. I'd like to see him get better. I think that he has a path to be more like Maxey. And I think that if we're patient Raptors fans, if we don't throw him under the bus too much like y'all are doing, we could actually get a Tyrese Maxey kind of level player out of Emmanuel in the next 2 years. But we have to be patient. We have to be allowing for failure and to get to success. And in some ways, you can read it that way all you want. But the fact is, we have him under contract and we're working him as our project. And honestly, as long as he's wearing a Raptors red jersey, I'm not going to completely throw him under the bus like y'all are. In some ways, I can criticize him and say, do this more, Emmanuel. Go get this, do that. But in some ways, I'm not saying we need to trade him immediately. I'm not saying that he's washed. I'm not saying he's cheeks. In some ways, I understand Emmanuel quickly has the promise of still becoming a good player. And I'd like to see it happen in a Raptors jersey. So once again, I mean, seriously, everybody wants trades to fix shit. Just shut up. We can make this work with who we've got. We're going to make a trade this year at some point. But once again, I said this yesterday. When you have to make trades, that means you fucked up and you made a mistake. And teams that make trades all the time are shitty front offices, honestly. And if you make less trades, that means you get your draft picks right and you get your analyzing of who should be on your team fitting right better. Now, the Raptors have a logjam of talent on their team this year, and there's going to be a move. We know there'll be a move and a trade at some point, and we're just figuring it out. But once again, man, IQ may be slumping and being in a little bad place right now, but who knows where he's going to be in like a week from now. So let's give him a chance. And once again, just like the whole rest of the team, we need some runway and a little bit more collection of data and understanding what the fuck this team is exactly. And that's probably going to be almost December when we start to figure this out. Okay. Maybe even in closer to New Year's. So I'm just saying, man, I'm just saying, you can say mediocrity won't win you titles. We're not mediocre. We're going to get this shit figured out. Everybody saying we have a mediocre team for what we're getting paying these people, that's all horse crap. And that's made up bullshit by ESPN and Bleacher Report that soft minds will follow. We have a good team that's going to get built up, and they just need time to develop and gel, and they're going to be fine. And we're going to win at the clip that will justify our salary cap. So don't believe this bullshit that they put out. That's what I say about that. Shaq Lindsay said, I'm going to miss you too, Milbester. He'd probably still be on the channel. He's not going anywhere. In fact, Milbester hopefully will talk more basketball when baseball season's over tonight. Seriously, Milbester. And I really want you to do this. You can talk Knicks. Come in and talk about your Knicks. You don't need to talk about the Yankees. You don't need to talk about the baseball. That's right. That's right. Ja would blossom here, 1,000%. We don't have to do anything for anybody. Nobody's promised anything. Who cares? He might be better here. You're maybe right. He may be way better off here. But you know what? Life isn't fair. And it doesn't mean just because that would happen, it needs to happen. It doesn't mean anything like that. So we would give us mainstream notoriety too? No, they just ignore him too. That doesn't mean jack shit. Seriously, you think they're going to give us mainstream notoriety? No, it's going to take a level of Vince Carter to do it. It's going to take a Kawhi Leonard to take us to a championship to get us notoriety. They're not going to give us notoriety. We could have the best player in the league, and they'd ignore us if they could. So don't give me this crap. It's not going to give us notoriety. It won't. In fact, they'll probably start talking worse about Ja Morant if he came to Toronto and saying, yeah, he's a waste. Oh, I don't know why the Raptors got him. He's such a waste of time. That's what you have to understand. Most of the media's point of view is to dump on us and say negative things about us, even when we have good things going. And that's why some of the soft-headed people believe all this shit that the U.S. media says about us, and they shouldn't be listening to them because the U.S. media doesn't even pay attention to the Raptors. So it's like, why would we listen to them? Seriously. Let's see. Leaf guy is here. All right, we got a Leaf guy here. I subscribed to you earlier. I'm so happy to see a dedicated Raptors channel. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate your subscription. I dump on the Leafs to an extent, but it's only because I want you guys to stop being so cynical and Raptors and Blue Jays and sports circles in Toronto. I understand the Leafs have had their issues for like 60 years now. And but I don't want us to be so cynical and jaded and negative just because of the failures of the Maple Leafs. I feel like the Blue Jays have a good chance to win tonight. But if there's Leaf Nation coming around saying, oh, no, the sky is falling, we couldn't win on game 6, we're going to lose tonight. We don't want that energy. So none of this prophecy to failure, Leaf Nation. And in some ways, listen, if you watch me regularly, I can teach y'all's fan nation to be better fans and stop being so toxic. Because in some ways, the biggest failures of the Maple Leafs have been their own fans. They have fucking shot themselves in the foot because they're overanalyzing, just like some people are doing the Raptors. And I don't like that action. In some ways, we have to have allowances for success and positivity. And like Brad Marchand said at the end of the season, the Leafs are good on paper. They should win. But the media and the fans get in their way because it's too much of a spotlight. It's too much pressure. And the Leaf fans need to take a step back, seriously, and just chill and be fans for a couple years and just watch the games and just enjoy having a team and stop acting like y'all are deserving of anything because y'all aren't. Y'all aren't. Y'all act like you're deserving of this, and this has been so long. There's nothing granted or given to people. And in some ways, y'all's culture and the way y'all act with your team is what's getting in the way. And if y'all can be retrained on how y'all act as a group, y'all might have better success in getting a Stanley Cup. Seriously. So Leafs guy, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you like this channel. And let's go Raptors, man. Let's go Leafs and let's go Jays. Because seriously, I wish I could be more of a Leafs fan, but y'all piss me off so bad with your toxic shit. And that's why I'm a Winnipeg Jets fan instead. Seriously, right there. But I want y'all to get it figured out. And that's part of the reason why I do this channel is because I want to separate the toxicness of Leaf fan nation from the Raptors fan nation. And I know we share a lot of the same people. And I want people to not bring the mindset and the way they treat the Leafs to Raptors spaces because it's unfair. The Raptors won a championship in 2019. We have very capable leadership. We get success. We're not jaded to think we're just going to fail every time we get in the playoffs. And anybody who comes into our fan nation when we get in the playoffs this year and says, "Oh, we're just going to lose in the first round because it's Toronto," I don't like that action or that energy, and I dismiss it. And I say we have no place for that here on the Raptor Freak channel because we're positive fans that are striving for success, and we are not trying to be toxic to take away from the success for our team. And that's the one thing is I have a Leaf fan in here. I want to get across to you guys is I would love for you guys to be better. My father went to Maple Leaf games in the 60s when they were winning Stanley Cups. My family is a Leaf family. Traditionally, growing up in Toronto, my dad lived in the beaches. And he used to go to the Maple Leaf Gardens regularly to hockey games. I should be a huge Leaf fan. But I grew up in Florida and learned how to play basketball. And I became a Raptors fan more. And then I came back to Toronto and I worked at the Air Canada Center when they built it. I started working there as an initial hire. And I worked for both the Leafs and the Raptors for 5 years during the Vince Carter years. And I saw how shitty MLSE treated the Raptors and how much they kissed and glazed the Leafs' asses. And I get it. The Leafs are the most important team in Toronto at that time. But it pissed me off so much because they were so bad to the Raptors on the internal scale of the corporation working inside it. I could see it. And it made me get a lot of disdain for Leafs Nation, the team, the hierarchy, Richard Petty, that piece of shit. And, just in general. In some ways, I was like, fuck y'all. Y'all don't deserve all this. Y'all are fucking toxic assholes. And the Raptors are a team that deserves more respect, and we need to give them more appreciation. In some ways, it's the racism of basketball in Canada. Some people just won't like basketball because they're racist, and it's a lot of black people playing it. And some people are traditionalists. Oh, we got to love hockey first because it's Canada's sport. And God forbid basketball becomes more popular in the country of Canada, a sport that was invented by a Canadian and had the first ever NBA game held at Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto in the history of the NBA. God forbid that hockey loses some money to basketball and the NBA and the Raptors become a little bit more popular than the Blue Jays, or not the Blue Jays, than the Leafs, because that has happened in the last few years. And I know Leaf Nation will say, "Oh no, we're more popular." No, you're not. You're not more popular than the Raptors. You're not worth more than the Raptors. The Raptors franchise is worth more money than the Leafs franchise, and we have way more fans around this world than the Leafs do. The Leafs don't have fans across Canada. There's a lot of Montreal fans in Canada. There's a lot of fans of the teams out west. And in some ways, y'all divvy it up with that. But if you're a basketball fan in Canada, it's pretty likely you're a Raptors fan. And it's pretty likely if you're a fan of a team in an international place, you might be a Raptors fan too. So let's not get it twisted. In some ways, Ed Rogers don't like that the Raptors in some ways are above the Leafs at this point. And in some ways, that's one of his directives is to kind of push us down from the inside. Well, fuck that. The Raptors are too good. And like Masai Ujiri said before Ed Rogers dismissed him wrongfully, he said, Toronto will win no matter what, whether I'm here or not. And he means the Raptors. So we're going to win it. That's right. So, yeah, this is a little history of me and my relationship with the Leafs. I do dump on the Leafs a lot, but it's mainly because I want y'all to stop being so toxic and start getting things going the right way. I see the appearances in the playoffs the last few years. I'm happy for you guys. I want y'all to beat these Florida teams. But the Lightning and the Panthers just have y'all's number. And sometimes I worry about the GM of the Leafs, whether they're not doing things right to help the team be the right team. But then I also realize the media is too scrutinizing and the fans are too crazy and toxic. And fuck Brendan Shanahan. Fuck you, Brendan Shanahan. 2-finger salute to your racist ass for saying that we couldn't have Raptors pictures in the lower concourse of the Scotiabank Arena while you were in charge because you didn't want to have pictures of the Raptors on the wall. Fuck you, Brendan Shanahan, you racist piece of shit. And that is a very good example of the problem with race issues between hockey and basketball and the bullshit in MLSE. That's just the damn truth. Seriously. And that's some of the shit that I was seeing when I worked there too, from 99 to 2004. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot there to talk about. I'm sorry I went off on this. I should be getting done. I should be getting done. Seriously. Let's see. What are you guys saying real quick? Stargate saying these two high schoolers in here trying to campaign for John Morant. Yeah, it's ridiculous. And seriously, I don't care how old he is. In some ways, he's behind on what he should have been doing in his career already. The Grizzlies were really set up for success, and he fucked it all up. Honestly, he fucked it all up. Him solely fucked up the really good team that was built together with Taylor Jenkins. And it's sad when Dylan Brooks was there with them. Yeah, he fucked it all up. He fucking picked the wrong time to play wannabe gangster. He really did. Yeah, Leafs are saying this. We are deserving of being perennial contenders. We are the best ran in the world. Who best fans in the world? Who? The Leafs? No, you're not. You're toxic as shit. You're toxic motherfuckers who are arrogant and don't deserve jack shit. You think you deserve it, but you don't because y'all act like assholes. I know for a fact. I used to work in the arena and I've worked Leaf games and I've dealt with Leaf fans. Y'all are jackasses. Y'all are fucking arrogant pieces of shit. Honestly, I've seen drunk ass Leaf fans talking out of their ass, being little shitheads more often than, a Raptors game is more family oriented and it's more like an international crowd with more children and more women. Meanwhile, Leaf crowds are more corporate white dudes who are fucking totally broing out and they're absolute assholes. Seriously, you don't deserve jack shit and you're not the best fans in the world. In fact, you're some of the worst fans in the world, honestly. And sadly, Raptors Nation has to share a lot of y'all with us. Seriously, that's the sad part. Infamous, you can call in. You got the number you want to call in. You can get in a call real quick. I got 15 minutes. I might as well go 3 hours. Let's see. Medved saying this. Stargate, it would be love to be wrong about Quick. Question is, what would you do if by trade deadline in February he doesn't improve? Well, we trade him. And that's fine. That's everything is right order, Ted. Everything is right order. It's too soon. We're being preemptive. And in some ways, we need to allow him a chance to still come back. Are we going to get Infamous on the show real quick right at the end? Here, hang on now. Infamous, you're on the Raptor Freak reaction show. How are you doing today?
Hello, Raptors Freak. How you doing today?
I'm good, man. Good to hear your voice.
Good. It's good to hear your voice as well. I've been sitting back and watching, reading the comments and all that stuff about the team. I'm just going to get straight to the point.
Sure.
There are three major problems with this team. Right?
Okay.
And again, I always say these opinions are my opinions, do not reflect the channel.
Sure.
There are three problems with this team. I'm going to give you three problems that I believe that's a problem with the team, besides the obvious ones. And I'm going to give you three solutions that I believe will help the team. And before I say that, go Jays. Go.
All right.
First of all, we need to be more positive about this team.
Yeah.
The team will be okay. It's going to take time. We're not going to win a championship this year. Just settle down. Like, just relax. Just go. Let the natural process flow.
Yeah.
Now let me start with problem number one.
Okay.
If you notice with championship teams or teams that are building towards a championship and to be successful, players need to sacrifice. Mm-hmm. On this team, what I'm noticing is that you got a bunch of players that are fighting for that number one spot. And what I mean by sacrifice, Quickly is got to dial back his game. I know he wants to score and be aggressive and stuff like that. Everybody needs to dial back their game. They need to establish, quote unquote, what a hierarchy is.
Sure.
I know we have this egalitarian offense
egalitarian,
where where everybody has to, but sometimes you have to sacrifice your game in order for the team to be successful.
I agree with you.
So let's say, even if I know that I'm a scorer and I can score or I can do, I need to say, hey, you know what? I'm using Quickly as an example.
Okay.
But there's other players that it doesn't apply just to Quickly. So what you do is you say, hey, you know what? I know I can score. I know I can get this bucket, but let me try to get everybody involved first.
Yes.
And then I eat later.
Yes, I agree with you. Let me build off this real quick, Infamous. I exactly get what you're saying. Like, each player should have two modes. Whether you're the top priority, like Brandon is the top priority on our offense really right now, right? He's the one we're trying to get the ball to most often to isolate and do whatever he's going to do. But if Brandon is not that guy that night, he can be in a sacrificing role of being more of a stat stuffer for that night. If he's not going for 30 or 20 to 30 points, and he's not getting the shots as much, there's ways he can sacrifice and help the team by going to get more rebounds and being more active on defense. And you take IQ as an example, you're exactly right. If IQ's not going to be a dynamic scorer with shooting a lot of threes and getting a lot of points, then you're exactly right. He should be sacrificing to go into a secondary role of being a facilitator and getting assists and working on his assist to turnover ratio and just really getting other guys going. You're exactly on point with this, Infamous. I agree. And I think each player has this kind of thing. Like Scotty in some ways last night wasn't totally the all-out scorer. He was more balanced, double-double, forward, down low, doing a lot of the grunt, dirty work. And that's Scotty sacrificing. And that's why all the fans were like, Scotty's not scoring enough. Scotty's not doing this. No, he needs to sacrifice in some ways what is going to win for us in the game.
Right. And I have to be honest, Scotty has been the most unselfish player on this team. That's what people don't realize, because he's the one. Let's be honest, Scotty is the best player on this team.
He is all around.
Brandon cannot do what Scotty does.
This is true.
Because you got to remember, Brandon. And Brandon's got to be called out a little bit too. I know people are in love with Brandon right now, but there's certain spots in games where he needs to be more aggressive and play better defense.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that.
I'll call it out.
Yeah. All right. So what's your second problem with the team? I like your first one. It's on point.
Right. So the second issue with the team that I've noticed is the over-aggressive defense. Now, they kind of dialed it back a bit. Yeah. You cannot be always up in the face of your defender all the time. You got to play defense based on the team that you face.
Okay.
Right?
Sure.
And what we do is that we play the same kind of style of defense for every single team. And not every single team you need to be up in their face. Okay. You got to recognize your competition.
I think that's true.
Recognize your competition. Over-aggressive defense is allowing blow-bys.
Yeah.
All that stuff. It's like we're right up in the.
It is.
Dial it back a bit.
I notice what you're saying. I think we've naturally dialed it back in the last couple of games just a little bit.
We have.
But I worry about, like, part of the problem that we had in the last week was they dialed it back too much and they were too lackadaisical to get after it. Like, it may have been that Darko heard this stuff like, oh, they're overcommitting and going for steals and we're getting burned and we're like, so maybe he told them stay at home a little bit more. And maybe the overcorrection was they're not energized enough and they're not playing with enough effort because of that. So, and like the other thing is, if they're going to be that way, and I agree with you, it should be matchup dependent depending on the team we're playing. They should not half-ass it either way. If they're going to go full out and they're going to play that style of defense, just like Shed was doing last night, that's fantastic. But they need to be smart about when they cheat and trying to gamble so that it's not a situation where they get killed somewhere else. Or if they are going to, because I've also seen what they're doing right now is they're doubling less and they're really staying at home and playing people man on man.
That over-aggressive defense.
And that works. That works. Yes. I'm in some ways, I'd much rather a man defense where you don't double as much and you just let your player try and beat that to defend that person on their own. Yeah.
You're absolutely right, because Nick Nurse used to do that kind of stuff and it wasn't working.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yep.
Nick Nurse,
there are parallels. Yep.
Yeah. So let me get to my third
one. All right, third one.
The third one is the speed of offense. Now here's what people got to understand. And this is me and you, we've been watching the NBA since we were babies. We know the NBA and how it works. People got to understand this. You look at the teams that win championships, right?
Okay.
You either have a superstar, right? Right? There's only one team, I think, probably the Detroit Pistons, that basically won without a superstar. You need a superstar basically to win.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Or a borderline superstar.
Sure.
Now, either you can get that superstar, trade for it, or you develop it. This team is, people got to understand, this team is the third youngest team if you take off Garrett.
Yeah.
It's the 30th youngest team in the league.
Yeah.
We got to give this team time to maturate.
Yeah.
We got to give this team time to grow.
I agree.
Now, will there be trades? You're absolutely. There's no. Yeah. Eventually, the team is going to be shaken up. We don't need to rush it. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
Right. The thing that I think that the other solution that I was looking at, they're going to have to eventually consolidate their skill sets. There's a lot of skills on this team, a lot of isolated skills, and it's going to need to be consolidated.
Well, I mean, yeah, you mean like, especially around this the swingman position on our team, we're very deep.
Correct.
And it's like maybe take a couple of guys and consolidate them into one like quality player that's like one roster spot. Yeah, no, I get that. And that's probably likely going to happen for sure. Yeah.
And here's the final one.
Okay.
This team desperately, we've never really solved this issue. We desperately need an athletic big. Now, notice I said athletic big. I didn't just say just a normal big.
Okay.
Right? An athletic big will solve so many issues on this team. Because here's the problem. You just get a big, right? That's cool, right? A big is cool, but do you know how many rim runs, how many lob threats we would have with an athletic big? Like
sure. You mean like a lively?
Like a true athletic big would solve so many issues, because the kind of offense that we play, where we're that speed up offense.
Sure.
If we can,
it'd be nice to have a lob threat. Yeah.
Right. We can just throw it down to them. Boom. That's a basket right there.
Yeah.
You know
I mean, I know those guys don't necessarily grow on trees. They're not totally common. So I don't know. I mean, maybe that could be in the works at some point with Bobby Webster. I mean, in some ways, we could argue that Scotty could be kind of a lob threat if he wanted to be in certain ways. I don't know, but these are good points, Infamous. I think your heart's in the right place, and I think you have some good points about fixing stuff.
Right, and we gotta understand that where our team is.
It's a young team.
It's a young.
It's a work in progress.
It's a work in process. Middle of the pack.
Yeah.
Middle of the pack team for now.
Yep.
Middle of the pack team for now.
Yep.
And we got to understand that we're not going to beat every team. Let's be honest, Raptor Freak. There is no team that of all the teams that we faced so far, there was no team definitively that you said, hey, the Raptors could go in there and kick their ass. I'm just being honest. I would
disagree. I mean, we did kick Atlanta's ass. And I think we should have beaten Giannis and the Bucks that night. I think that we let one through our hands in the home opener. That game should have been done. The Dallas game was weird. The Mavericks were like they're not very sharp, and in some ways they're lucky they played us then because they got another win because they're not doing well so far. The Spurs are real deal. Like they're badasses. Like that is a game that
Spurs are on another level.
Yeah, and then the Rockets game was weird because there were parts of the Rockets game where I felt like we were competing well with them and that we could have had a chance to beat them if we had done things a bit differently. But I think the only game that was really we weren't in was the San Antonio game. But there were opportunities to win the other ones.
What you said though.
What's that?
Word. I said definitively.
Yeah.
That's why I used the word.
Yeah. No.
No game that we came in.
The league of parity is going to be very equal, and there's I think at most nights, unless you're playing a team like the Nets, you're pretty much maybe there's going to be an equal chance. Because the stats, and this may have been before they saw the injury list, but you know what? The ESPN predictor for us last night was 76% the Cavs were going to win. Yeah.
Well, when I knew that Spidey Mitchell was out and I said we had.
And we heard all that,
and that's all we can hope for. Here's the thing.
Nah, I mean, if they're healthy, we got to try and play good against them. I mean, if Mitchell had played and not Allen, I think we could have still won last night. Seriously.
Right. Yeah,
Allen was the key one.
I always keep telling people we struggle against large athletic.
We do right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why we need to get what you're saying. Anyway, Infamous, I'm about to hit 3 hours, and I want to try and wrap up. No, it's all good, man. I'm enjoying the call and stuff. And I think that you're like I said, your heart's in the right place. You're pointing out problems, and you have answers. And I think that one of the main points you made is let's chill out. Let's just enjoy watching the games. And win or lose, stand with your team and stop stabbing in the back. That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely. Yeah. You have a beautiful day.
You too, man. Happy November. Happy November. Let's go Blue Jays. Let's win it tonight. Infamous. I appreciate your call today, man.
I appreciate you and the Raptors.
Let's go Raptors. Let's go Toronto. That's right. All right.
Have a great day.
Yeah, thank you. Awesome, man. Cool. We getting a couple calls in today. If not one was a butt dial earlier. But yeah, that's pretty good right there. I like that. All right, let's see. Leafs fans saying this, just like the Raptors. Hang on, I want to see what he's saying, and then we'll get done. Man, don't add any more comments, guys, because I want to get out of here. I want to get out of here. All right, where are we here? Saying just like the Raptors are deserving of having a team that plays hard every night. Yeah, I mean, we want that and we demand that, and we do have that to an extent. There's just some nights the guys don't come with the right biorhythm and they're just dogging it and they're just not the same energy that they're supposed to be. And that will happen with a long season of ups and downs. That some nights you just kind of don't have it right in some ways. Leaf Nation saying, no disrespect, but the Leafs fans are across Canada and the United States. We are the most popular team in the world. That's absolute horse crap. Honestly, I have family members that are Boston fans. I have family members that are Lightning fans. I have family members that are Jets fans. I have friends that are way more Canadians fans than Leaf fans in Toronto. You know, that's bullshit. You can say that and believe that to yourself. But that's horse crap, man. That's absolute horse crap. And as much as y'all have fans all around the United States, give me a break. Come on, man. The Raptors have fans at every single game, though. Everywhere we go across the NBA, there's a huge section of Raptors fans always at the game. They were at the Cavs game last night. So, yeah, this is horse crap, man. It's not the same. Seriously. It's not the same. And your bias may be forcing you to not see this correctly. There's fans in Ontario that are Senators fans. So don't give me this crap. Canada is completely Raptors nation. There's few fans up here that are Lakers fans and Warriors fans and Nuggets fans in some places. But overall, most people in Canada root for the Toronto Raptors. And most people in Canada do not root for the Maple Leafs. Let's just put it that way. They may be the most popular NHL team in Canada, but the Habs would maybe have something to say to that to you. That's what I say right there. Seriously. He's saying the most popular teams in the world are the Lakers, the Yankees, and the Maple Leafs. Absolute horse crap. The Lakers and the Yankees, I will say, but the Maple Leafs, who the fuck stays on with them if they don't live in Toronto and have to be in the misery train of the Maple Leafs history? Seriously, who are these sadists that live in other places that are just magically Leaf fans that go through the misery with you guys here? This is not true, man. This is some bullshit you're making up, man. Seriously. And once again, our team is worth like $5 billion. Your team's worth like 3 or 2, something like that, man. Tyler's saying this. The West is a gauntlet. Comparing LaMelo to Ja is laughable. Melo is a chucker. Exactly. At least you're right on that one. You're right on that one, Tyler. I appreciate you for that one. James is saying, Wayne, lots of things can change in 5 years. I highly doubt IQ still plays for us in 2030. Laugh out loud. Who knows? He was just making a joke, James. He wasn't being serious. He was just trying to be sarcastic. Shaq Lindsay saying John might leave behind his guns, want to be gangster friends, and his dad, they probably won't let him over the border. That's the other problem. Can he even play for the Raptors? Is he a felon? You know, we have rules up here. We don't supposed to allow felons into Canada. Like, seriously, I have friends in Tallahassee ain't allowed to come here because they're felons. So it's like, in some ways about that, Donald Trump shouldn't be allowed in Canada. Seriously. John Morant, I don't know if he got felonies. I don't know what he got, what level he got. In some ways, they have to give him a special pass just to come to Canada to play tomorrow, maybe. If John Morant can't come to Canada tomorrow, if he's not playing tomorrow, well, we'll know he's not allowed at the border. Seriously, man. They might not let him over the border. Leaf fans saying for the Leafs, it is championship or bust every year. That's part of the problem. You guys can't do that right now. You guys just not getting far enough in the playoffs to be treating your team like that. And you can compare yourself to the Knicks. That's a good comparison. Because the toxicness of the Knicks shot them in the foot last year too. And that's why they didn't go further. And in some ways, they fired their coach in an overreaction. So yeah, Leaf Nation, Knicks Nation, very similar. And both in the way of their teams being successful. Both in their way. That's right. In some ways, your mentality is part of the problem, Leaf guy. You think you're all at shit and your shit don't stink. Well, it does. And until you come to grips with the reality of your team and how you are and get more humble, you're not going to get anywhere because y'all are too arrogant and you ain't got jack shit to prove for it. First round exits, losing to Florida teams over and over again. Yeah, that ain't it, bro. You shouldn't be championship or bust. How about you just get past the first round first, guy? Seriously. Milbester saying this. I'll still be here. See, he'll still be here. I'll be watching NBA season in Knicks. Don't worry. But baseball-wise, I'll be watching the baseball leagues being played in other countries until then. Okay. Leafs Nation say RJ Barrett is the best player on this team. Canada first. I love that comment. And we can get together on this exactly right here. I'm with this for sure. Milbester saying March. I'll be watching it. Okay, we don't care. Shaq Lindsay saying I agree with the caller, but IQ doesn't need to shoot so much as a starter. He needs to do more of the other things. I love that. I'd love that if he really try and buckle down and be more of a straight up point guard for a little while, because the talent's around him. And in some ways, he'll still get his shots here and there. But man, Emmanuel, if you could try and average 12 assists a game, that would be fantastic right now. Seriously, we could get a lot out of that. That's good quality stuff and contribution. That's right. Like getting loose balls, playing defense, and distributing the ball. Yeah, if we could do that, that'd be awesome. Stargate saying facts by Infamous. He likes what he's saying. Big facts. Kaloy saying Garrett skewing the average age. Yeah, very much so. Mo's here. Good to see Superfan Mo did make the chat. Good afternoon, Raptor Freak crew. Much needed win. Jamison needs more minutes. Credit Darko in the chat this afternoon. No way I'm in the Blue Jays mess again. Oh, yeah. You don't want, well, you don't have to go downtown. You don't want to get in that traffic. That's right. That's right. Yeah. Good to see you, Mo. And yeah, I agree. Jamison needs to be playing regularly in the rotation going forward. He does. No more DMPs for Jamison, Darko. Seriously. No more DMPs. Shaq Lindsay saying IQ off the bench would give you that scoring punch. It would be a very interesting experiment. I'm not against it. I think that Shed is a good level that he could start, and that this would be an intriguing change. And some people are saying start bring RJ off the bench, start Grady. There's been all kinds of different like permutations of who should come off the bench and who shouldn't and all this stuff. And I think this idea of IQ coming off the bench is very intriguing right now. I don't know if it'll ever come to fruition, but it's a very interesting idea you guys are proposing today. That's right. Spitting facts. You guys think Info is spitting facts? Yeah, he's pretty good, man. How do you call into the show? Well, the number is secret, and it's for members of the channel. People that subscribe to the channel also pay like a monthly membership fee, get access to call. There are days when you, if you're in our Discord server or in our Facebook, the number will be posted. But right now, it's like the regulars who have the number already are allowed to call in right now. But we'll do this. We'll do this at some point. If you stick around long enough, you'll probably find the number at some point. But joining the channel as a member, a monthly subscriber, that can get you in there faster. Just so you know. Tyler's saying this at Stargate. There are players in the West, if they are played in the East, would be dominating Ja, Zion, Ant, Booker, AD, Sabonis, etc. How they make me high schooler if you don't know ball, just say that. I mean, I would say the West is stronger than the East overall. But, I mean, I don't think this is totally true. Some of it is also the style of plays different on the different conferences. And some of those guys may look a lot better on the West because it's more wide open. The East has always been a grinding, low-scoring, defensive conference. And some of these guys may do well in it, like Sabonis. He was in the Eastern before with Indiana. But some of these other guys won't. And some of them won't because they're just not players that show up and are serious about their careers. And Williamson and Morant are those two guys I'm saying. Anthony Edwards is a great player. He could do it anywhere. Devin Booker is a good shooter. He's a good player too. AD is injury prone. He's already hurt again now. So yeah, it depends on, each case, and they're all different. They're all different. I would agree with you on Anthony for sure. For sure. But Ja and Zion, they don't have a track record of being available or showing up. And availability is the most important ability. That one right there. Leafs Nation saying this. I need to convince this guy to become more of a Leafs fan. It may hurt my ears when he said that he liked the Winnipeg Jets. Well, my family's from Manitoba, and my uncles are huge Winnipeg fans. I have one uncle that's a season ticket holder in Winnipeg that goes to the Jets games. And honestly, I have more respect and love for the story of the Winnipeg Jets franchise because they lost their team, and unfairly. The shifting of Canadian teams to the U.S. was fucked up. And the fact that the Jets became the Phoenix Coyotes for a while was messed up. And, well, the Thrashers didn't work in Atlanta, and thank God they moved the team back to Winnipeg. So in some ways, I root for underdogs. I root for redemption stories. And that's why I love the Jets. I've followed the Jets and loved the Jets when they were a team before they got taken away. When I was a little kid, there's pictures of me in Jets uniforms because I got them from my uncles that loved the Jets. And then when they lost their team, it was very sad and depressing. I felt bad for my uncles because they lost their team, but they got it back. That's a much better feel-good story than the crazy-ass, spoiled-ass, fucking piece of shit Leaf Nation story. Seriously, y'all don't deserve jack shit. This team was taken from them, and they're back in Winnipeg, and that's a beautiful story. And in some ways, I have way more respect for that kind of stuff than the, oh my gosh, we are the Leafs. We're the center of the world. We're so bad. Our shit don't stink. No, that's not true. Y'all need to be more real with yourselves, humble yourselves, and maybe you'll get somewhere actually in the world of sports. Karmically, y'all are fucking y'all selves up. Seriously. I know it's hard to hear this. I would love to root for the Leafs more, but the fans turn me off. And in some ways, the overimportance of the Leafs on the sports broadcasts and just in general, it kind of pisses me off. Because honestly, the Raptors get a short end of the stick, all kinds of different places that they don't deserve necessarily, because the Leafs are so over important. And the amount of time spent on Sports Center, on TSN, talking about hockey, and the little bit they talk about the NBA is part of the reason why I hate this shit. In some ways, it really was. And the Leafs are absolutely the forefront of the bullshit. Seriously. So that's it right there. I can lay it all out for you. Let's end this poll real quick. It seems like this poll is going the wrong direction, but 68% saying no, John Morant. That's right. And we're democracy was saying no. That's right. Kaloy saying people are having messed up expectations because of the contract situation. Well, we were also sold that we're going to be a playoff team this year, and we started 1-4. And they're like, that's not lining up with what they said. Well, it's a long season. And they just stumbled out of the gates, and they're going to get this right. That's right. They're going to get this right. Stargate's saying this: film work. Study film on your opponent individually and collectively. Yes. More intelligence on the court, mismatch, finding those. Sandro had a mismatch a couple times last night, and they found Sandro near the basket. Scotty's calling out for it. He's got a mismatch. Get it to Scott. Let him go to work in the post. That's high intelligence basketball. You need to use your brain. You can't just go through the motions. You need to be intellectually involved in the game. And that's something that sometimes NBA players don't do. They're knuckleheads and they just play like on talent and just like, ooh, I can jump real high. Well, maybe you should think about what you're doing and maybe you'll be more directed in success, is what I'm saying. Yeah. LA has a guy, Jackson Hayes. He's a good jumping athletic big guy. Yeah, I don't know. The Lakers still need big men. They're probably not letting him go anywhere right now. Yeah, Milbester's saying, Lex, I was targeted by fake FTC officers that threatened to arrest me, and I found out they were cyber criminals that I did FTC report using FTC Gmails. That's interesting, man. That's interesting. I hate that. In some ways, like I said, if you're a person of color in the United States, be on high alert because white supremacy runs the White House. And there's a bunch of racist-ass KKK Nazi motherfuckers called ICE that are going around terrorizing people of color right now. And if you just look Hispanic, they're going to come and pull you over. And you could be a American citizen your whole life, and they may be sitting on you with their knee on your neck, like Derek Chauvin. So this is a fucked up time in the United States. There's a Nazi America right now with ICE America, MAGA America. It's the same shit as Nazi Germany. And if you ask yourself what you do during Nazi Germany, well, what you're doing right now is what you would do, because that's the shit that's going on in the United States right now. And I want to give a protective wish and prayer for all people like Milbester, people of color in the United States, to be protected by this fucking bad fucking shit that's coming, because they want more officers, they want more prisons, and they want more reasons to throw people in for prison profits. That's not freedom. That's not democracy. That's not a real fucking country at this point. That's a dictatorship. And that's a wannabe Russia with a wannabe Putin named Trump. And in some ways, the Americans need to continue to get in the streets. If they're not out in the streets today, they damn sure should be, especially since it's a Saturday. And they need to fix this shit sooner than later, because this guy's doing real damage to the reputation and the democracy of the United States. And if y'all want to be leaders in this world, you need to be showing better leadership on how you run your country. Because right now, y'all have been infiltrated by a dictator who probably stole the election with Elon by fudging the voting machines in battleground counties and battleground states. And he didn't even actually win. He just stole this shit, and now he's destroying your White House. It's a big, huge embarrassment. And when does this madness end? When do y'all say enough is enough? You're going to starve our children with SNAP taken away. You're going to do this shit, and you're very racially motivated to fucking punish people right now. Yeah, don't get it twisted. Racist, white supremacist motherfuckers are in charge of the United States, and they will hurt everyone eventually. Trust me. Yeah, they want to build more prisons because they make money off prisons. They're going to take the jobs with AI. Nobody will have jobs. And you know what? They'll make money off you by putting you incarcerated. And they might put you in for the most fucked up, trivial shit at some point. Oh, you don't like Trump. Oh, you made a meme. That's not freedom, United States. And y'all need to fucking get your shit straight. Forget about fixing the Raptors. Forget about fixing Leafs Nation. They need to fix the United States, the government, and fix this shit soon, because y'all are world power, and it's dangerous as fuck to have such a powerful country run by such a fucking deranged, senile piece of shit like Donald Trump and the white supremacists that MAGA are. So yeah, that's the damn truth. And if you don't agree with me, you're part of the problem, because you're fucking condoning this shit and you know it's wrong. And they're fucking with you, Milbester. I wish you protection. I'll put a protection spell on you, and God above, please protect Milbester from racist piece of shit and vote for Mandini. That's all I got to say, bro. Vote for Mandini, because he's going to piss off the white supremacists if you vote for him. Seriously. All right, let's keep going. I'm going to finish up, man. I'm going way too long. We won last night. It's fun. It's fun. All right, let me see. Fiercely saying IQ was considered as a six-man but wanted more playing time, hence why it made sense to appoint him to our point guard starting. He just needs to grow and develop into the role. Give me 2 examples of an athletic big. Derek Lively. And I don't know, Blake Griffin, an older one. How about that? You can't call in. I'm not doing any more calls. I'm way over time. I'm supposed to do 2 hours. I'm at 3:15 now, and that's too long. I shouldn't have been on so long. Yeah. If you guys have anyone that went through this, tell me. I don't know anybody that went through it. I have one friend that's Filipino that was traveling in Minnesota, and he had the same name as somebody who was on an ICE list, and they took him in. And he was in jail for 3 months until they figured out it was a case of mistaken identity. And he's an emergency room nurse who works in the ICU in San Francisco. And this is what I'm saying. And this shit was happening already. This happened last year before Trump was in trouble. So all in charge. Now it's all fucking Wild West. And you see how they're hurting people, cracking people's ribs, shooting preachers with rubber bullets, zip tying children. This is fucked up, man. These are war crimes. And in some way, at some point, if the United States is going to right itself, all these people will face justice, and they will go to prison for their acts as ICE agents. Seriously. If there's justice in the end, this whole fucking dark period that's happening in 2025 right now will get righted out in the end with justice, just like Nuremberg. And that should happen. Seriously, that's what's got to happen. That's right. Shaq Lindsay saying, Bobby, let's make a trade for Jackson Hayes. Maybe. Stargate saying, yes, Atlanta and Milwaukee, the Raptors should have beat. We beat Atlanta. We should have beat Milwaukee. Shaq Lindsay saying, next time you go to a game, Leaf fan, look at your multiculturalism supporting your team and compare the Raptors. Exactly. And Shaq Lindsay saying, look, now look outside your window and look at the multiculturalism in Toronto. Yeah, it's weird because, I mean, I get it. There's a lot of rural Canadians in Ontario that love the Leafs, first and foremost. But downtown, if you talk to people that are in the city, there's a lot of love for the Raptors on a level that's a little bit more than the Leafs at times. Seriously. And part of it is the championship. Part of it is just the vibe that the Raptors gave to the city in the era of Ujiri. And it's fantastic. Yeah. Most saying this. Thank you for the cutoff. I needed it bad. W Stream, W Vibes, go Raptors for life. Keep at it always, Lex. Raptor Freak Crew, strong forever. Just help me limit the comments. Yeah, I got a couple more segments I got to do. Stargate saying typical Leaf fan arrogance. Facts at Shaq Lindsay. Look around the crowd in Leafs game and look at the crowd at a Raptors game and tell me which one exemplifies the city the most. That's right. Where do we pay to call? You just got to become a member of the channel. Join the channel first, and you can go in as like a purple member. And, it's not going to happen right away. It takes a little time. Seriously. Tell me where I can pay for you to get some Leaf swag. I'll buy you a Leafs hat right now. I don't need a Leafs hat. I have Leaf swag. I have a Go Leafs Go shirt in here. I used to work at the arena. I had all kinds of free Leaf stuff from working in the arena for 5 years. So I do have some Leaf stuff. I don't have a lot, though. Stargate saying, just to let you know, Lex, block those two. You blocked those 2 John Morant guys. He's saying we deserve to be competing for Stanley Cups every year. Please just stop this hate. I want the Raptors to win every year too. I mean, I want the Leafs to be successful. Let's not get it wrong. I'm saying this is something different. You guys don't deserve shit. We don't deserve anything too as the Raptors fans. No, we don't. That's part of the problem with the mindset that comes from Leaf Nation that I'm trying to talk about. And this is what I'm trying to tell Raptors fans too. There's nothing given or just given to you. You don't just deserve shit. You got to go earn it. You got to go do it. And then someone's given to you. That's fucked up. No, Leaf fans don't just deserve shit. They don't. In some ways, y'all have been shitty fans. And Raptors fans have been shitty at times too. They were very shitty towards Fred VanVleet and Kyle Lowry at different times, and they didn't need to be. Seriously. So it's like nobody deserves anything in this world. The entitled fucking attitude is part of the problem in this world. And that's the common problem here. It's not necessarily this Leaf Nation or Raptors Nation. I don't believe that the Raptors just deserve to win the championship. That's the fucked up way to think, man. Championship or bust is a horrible mentality. It's a horrible mentality. How many teams are in each league? 30 teams? Only one team's winning every year. So championship or bust is just going to make a bunch of sad, jaded people. So no, I'm not about that. I'm about improve every year. I'm not championship or bust. And that's the difference between me and Leaf Nation. And that's toxic, dude. That is toxic. That's what I'm saying right there. Chloe's saying, he's laughing at the Leaf guy. Stargate saying at Leafs guy, tell your fellow Leaf fans to stop hating Raptors fans and general basketball fans solely based on race. Yeah, there are some racist Leaf fans. I'm telling you, there really are. They only root for hockey and baseball. And God forbid they root for any team that colored people play in. Seriously, man. Don't think that racism is not a part of hockey. We see it on the junior level. Seriously. He's saying, can we talk more about sports than politics? We do everything here, man. We do everything. We teach in life. We teach in politics. We do everything here. Man, we got to talk politics because if we don't, this fucking world's going into the dystopian hellhole. So we better talk about it. We better inform people. That's what I'm saying, man. No one cares about what the president of the United States thinks. He isn't worth our time. In some ways we should because he's dangerous. And in some ways he's made a lot of stupid rhetoric about our country here this year. And in some ways we need to be ready. Elbows up. Elbows up. That's right. He's saying the Raptors fans are probably the most cultured fan base in the world. It's a very diverse group of people. I know because I got to almost every game. That's good. I'm glad you support them and you come to the team, to the games and stuff like that. And it's true. We do. You know, Toronto is the most diverse city in the world now. We passed London, England. London, England was the most diverse city, and New York's up there too. But at this point, Toronto has the highest percentage of multiculturalism in the entire world. We are the most multicultural city in the whole entire world now. Toronto, Ontario. That's right. That's right. Let's see. Leafs fans exemplify Toronto. Very diverse. I can't believe what I'm reading. Yeah, I can't believe you said that too. I've never seen someone root against basketball because of race. No, it's not that. It's just that they are like, I'm not a fan of basketball. I just can't get into it. Okay, that tells me something sometimes. I mean, listen, seriously, it's an exciting sport. In some ways, I can't stand 1-1 ties and two or three goals a game. You're sitting there watching guys skate around for like 3 hours and they don't fucking hardly do anything. It's a waste of time to me. I'm not a hockey person. In some ways, I played fantasy hockey and I have very little attention towards hockey because in some ways, it's a boring sport to me. I'm sorry. That's just how it is. And some people say, well, basketball is too much of a boring sport. In fact, I have an uncle who says, I can't get into basketball as much as anything because they score too much. It's hard to keep up with. When my uncle said that, I was like, this is the craziest thing I've ever heard as far as why you don't like basketball. It's because they score too much. That shit is so funny, man. You love basketball, but hockey is life. That's fair, and that's for you individually. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Let's do the straight goods on Canadian goods since we're talking such Canadian stuff. You know, there's a Greek bakery run in Toronto called Serrano Bakery. We've been doing bakeries the last 2 days. And today I want to put on blast the Greek bakery, Serrano Bakery. They are primarily using Canadian sourcing, and they're entirely Canadian run. So if you want some good baked goods and you're in the city of Toronto, Serrano Bakery is a Greek bakery. And I'm going to guess it's somewhere over near Danforth is where I think it is. Y'all check on your fantasy basketball teams in our Yahoo Fantasy League. Some good matchups going on right now. So get your lineup set for today and tomorrow. This week will be over tomorrow, and we'll see who's winning after the end of the week 2 matchups. Let's do the Instagram stories real quick. Did I even set these up? You know what? Fuck it. I'm skipping them today. Raptors Reddit. No, we don't even do that. We'll skip that too. We're way over time. Happy birthday to former Raptor Jake Voskuhl. Jake Voskuhl was on the Raptors for 1 year, and he played 38 games for us. He averaged 0.9 points per game. Do y'all remember Jake Voskuhl? He used to play for Phoenix. He was more known for being on Phoenix. But yeah, Jake is, as of today, 48 years old. So happy 48th birthday, Jake Voskuhl of Tulsa, Oklahoma. And yeah, former Raptor, he finished his career in the NBA on the Raptors, and then he was done in 2009. So there you go. All right, let's see. We're going to do the classic card now. And yeah, we're going to get out of here. I'm way over time, but it's been fun conversations. And Leaf fan, thanks for being here. I know I've been dumping on the Leafs a lot, but we do kind of do that here. In some ways, we're very protective of our energy. And in some ways, we're not letting the Leafs be priority here. The Raptors are priority. Raptors number one on this channel. And Leafs don't take center stage or have priority over them in any kind of way. In fact, we have more disdain for the Leafs than we like them. A lot of our people here. Oh, wow. This is awesome. This is pretty cool. All right. This is our card of the day, guys. Here we go. Full name answer, please. Get the full name answer. Yeah, we better get this one right now. Don't fuck around. Full name answer on the classic card. We know who this is. Come on now. I have to pull it away. It's too easy. That's right. You know what? You got it. Leafs fan got in there first. DeMar DeRozan is the card of the day from his Spurs days. Look at this beautiful classic card of DeMar DeRozan on the Spurs. This will be available for someone, although I want to keep it, man. I kind of want to keep it because it's DeMar. You know, I do really love DeMar DeRozan. I got my bobblehead of DeMar right here. I got my signed copy of DeMar's book, Above the Noise. Thank you, David Saborin, for a beautiful signed copy of DeMar DeRozan's book. You know, I'm a big fan of DeMar. DeMar, to me, is him and Kyle are 1A and 1B of the greatest Raptors of all time. And I love DeMar. So, yeah, we're going to give this is crazy, man. The Leaf guy got in there and got it before Slug Deezy. Slug Deezy was right behind him. Slug Deezy right there. Your favorite Raptor all time. See, you're getting points with me from that, man. Seriously. You know what? If your icon wasn't Leafs, I wouldn't even gone on this tangent. We could have just talked Raptors in some ways. But the Leafs kind of like, oh, he's a Leaf fan. Uh-oh, we got to talk to him like this then. In some ways, that's not fair to you, Leafs. So, Leafs, you got your first ever Raptor Freak trivia points. I hope you'll come back again. It's only 50 points because DeMar's an easy get. It's real easy. But you're on the trivia board now for the season. And you're getting 50 Raptor Freak trivia points for identifying DeMar DeRozan first in the chat. That's a classic card. We do one every day. Every day. That's right. Fiercey's internet was bugging again. That's why she didn't get in there. She wanted it. All right, y'all, I better get out of here. We're at 3.5 hours. That's insane. Lexathon. No, this is too long. We don't need to be doing this. Good job, Raptors. Winning their in-season tournament game number 1 against Cleveland last night. That was the tough one, the Halloween game, the scary game. And, well, it wasn't as scary because they were missing a lot of key players. And the Raptors took care of business, and they got the W. Thank God. A 5-game losing streak and reacting to that today would have been a difficult stream today, and I would not have enjoyed doing the stream today. But thank God they won. And as I said, they're in a good position now in Group A of the in-season tournament to be one of the teams that's going to go to Vegas because the Cavs were favorited, and now we've beaten them in our matchup. So if we win the other 3 games, we're going to Vegas, y'all, and we can compete in the Emirates Cup in Vegas. That'd be kind of fun. All right, my stars of the game for last night's game, Jamison Battle, obviously. Amazing, perfect performance. RJ Barrett, the heart. The Leaf fans' favorite player. I love him too. Brandon Ingram, clutch stuff. Still coming along, learning the team better and better as each game goes. Scotty Barnes, thank you for sacrificing and being more of a double-double defensive and rebounding guy as a leader. And Jamal Shed, great leadership as the backup point guard last night and what you did out there. Those are my 5 stars of the game. I appreciate everybody for sticking with me for a long time today on this long stream. And Leafs fans, seriously, I'm sorry if I came at you a little harsh about the team. This is just like Infamous said, these are my views, are solely expressed of my views. They're not the Raptors' views. They're not the MLSE's views. They're not all the Raptor Freaks' views, but these are my personal views, and they're from my personal experience. And in some ways, you're right. I want to be more friendly towards Leaf Nation. I do want to root for them. I do want them to win. If the Leafs won again, even though y'all would be obnoxious and be very, very annoying, I would be happy that Toronto won another championship. But in some ways, I don't really want y'all to win because I know just how arrogant and full of shit y'all will be too. And in some ways, y'all being miserable and not doing well for a long, long time, in some ways, it's been helpful to the Raptors and our team on this way. Seriously, because y'all are assholes if you're doing too well. You guys act like your shit don't stink, and I don't want to have to deal with the overbearingness of that. I do want the cup back in Canada, but in some ways, I'd rather it go to another Canadian team. Seriously. Seriously, I wish Edmonton had won it. Seriously. All right, y'all, let's go Raptors, and let's go Blue Jays. Finish up the World Series tonight. Get that win. Like I said, be more like Raptors Nation, Jays Nation. Believe. Stay optimistic. Believe the cup is half full, and don't be cynical and half empty, and don't fall apart at the end like Leafs fans would in the toxic ways of not believing in their team and being, oh no, it's happening again. Another first round exit to the Panthers. No, fuck that. Blue Jays, be proud. Be more like your Raptors cousins and say, you can do this. You're going to get this. And game 7 is going to go your way tonight, Blue Jays. That's what we want. Let's go, Toronto. Let's go. I'll be back tomorrow to preview the Memphis Grizzlies game. And we'll talk more about Ja Morant, obviously. All right, let's go, Raptors. Let's go, Blue Jays. Beat the Dodgers.